Chapter 1. 3000 Realms. Zhongzhou Dao Domain, Zhongzhou. In the first sequence of the Changsheng family's mansion, a young man who had just turned 16 suddenly opened his eyes, and countless images seemed to flash through his eyes. Did I transmigrate? Or was it a fetal transmigration? 16 years old, that is when you awaken to Su Hui? A storm appeared in Guchanga's mind, and the intertwined memories of his past and present lives made him a little confused. But in the next second, he will return to normal. Unexpectedly, I actually transmigrated, and also transmigrated into a fantasy world, becoming the first-order true dragon son of an immortal family. It's a pity that I didn't awaken to Su Hui until I was 16. Otherwise, I would have been able to do more things with the awakening of the prophet. Maybe I would have been designated the divine child. In Guchanga's memory, being the first person in the Gu family's order of longevity does not necessarily mean that he will become a divine child. It can only be said that the representatives of the first sequence are among the top 10 in terms of qualifications, talents, and combat power. After 3 years of competition, the position of divine child will be decided after the age of 18. The 10-digit sequence comes from the major branches of the Changsheng family, and Guchanga represents the main line. Under normal circumstances, the main lineage true dragon child basically grows into the immortal Gu family divine child, but this life is a bit unexpected. That means that all major branches of the Changsheng family have the birth of supreme monsters, sanctification of the physical body, the ancient holy body, comprehension transcendent, innate Tao body. There are even the 7 apertures exquisite heart, heavenly hegemonic body, etc. As for Guchanga, he possesses dual pupils, and his root bone is excellent, not inferior to all kinds of holy bodies, Taoist bodies, and divine bodies. The only difference is that he does not have divine ability. However, dual pupils has already given Guchanga invincible resources. After sorting out all the information, Guchanga raised the corner of his mouth slightly. With this identity, this qualification, and this background, good guy, he is the king of the game. With that said, Guchanga blinked again to confirm that there was nothing strange about his panel, and the prompt sounded again. It's a pity that as a transmigrator, I didn't bind Goldfinger, but it doesn't matter. With my current qualifications, I am confident that I will be on the road to invincibility. Guchanga had just finished speaking and was about to calm down the turmoil in his heart. The next second, a notification sound made his eyes widen slightly. Ding! It is detected that the host awakened Su Hui. The Invincible Return System is activated. Congratulations to the host for receiving the newbie Invincible Return Gift Pack. A prompt sounded in his mind, and a prompt information interface also appeared in front of him, allowing Guchanga to clearly know that he really had a system. No, he was just talking casually, but he was really systematic. No matter how you use the system, it will make it easier for Guchanga to walk on the road to invincibility. Invincible Return System. Okay. Guchanga suppressed his shock and immediately asked the system in surprise. System, tell me about your role. Ding. This system is called Invincible Return System. As the name suggests, as long as the host gifts divine ability, kung fu, divine weapons, and heavenly materials and earthly treasures to targets that are bound by this system, you can get various value for money returns. The value of the return will be determined based on the multiplier. For example, the host gives a spiritual stone to the bound target, and if the return is billions of times, you can get a fairy stone. Note, things given by the host can only be returned to the same category. Note, this system has all rights of interpretation. Looking at the introduction of the system, Guchanga suddenly understood. The brief introduction also made Guchanga understand the defiance of his invincible return system. If done correctly, then his strength will skyrocket at an unimaginable speed. While Guchanga was digesting system information, the system prompt came again. Ding. Check if the host holds the newbie Invincible Return Gift Pack. Is it enabled? Big gift package for newbies. According to the routine he used to read Shuangwen, the cliffhanger would be good. So Guchanga nodded without hesitation. Turn on. Suddenly a series of information appeared in front of my eyes. Ding. The host successfully opened the novice Invincible Return Spree. Congratulations to the host for getting the reward. The first return will definitely trigger the number of billion times critical hits. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward. A 10,000 times critical hit card. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward. 1,000 times critical hit card. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward. 500 times critical hit cards. Looking at a series of prompt messages, Gu Changge felt like he was going to blow up a boss. Just when he was excited to see what it was, he just scanned all the content on it, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. This is really a return system. The rewards in the novice gift pack are all return cards. But really speaking, if these return cards are used properly, then for him, it will definitely be an unimaginable increase in his wealth. Gu Changge scanned them one by one. The first time it must be triggered billions of times. After the system has found a binding partner, I have to decide what to send for the first time. When Gu Changge was thinking this, the system continued to prompt again. It has been detected that there are targets in the Changsheng family that match the system binding objects. Ask the host to get closer to the target range by 100 meters to unlock the bound object information. The host can freely decide whether to bind the return target. Oh, the system has found a binding partner so quickly? I thought it would take a long time. Gu Changge thought, and a bright message appeared in his mind. It seems that the system has given thoughtful guidance. But just right. Save him the trouble of looking for it. With this in mind, Gu Changge was about to get up and walk out of the room, heading to the location of the light spot to unlock the return target bound to the system, when suddenly there was a knock on the door. Mr. Changge, the clan leader asked you to go to the main meeting hall and said that he has good news for you. A young female voice sounded. It was a maid. Father is looking for me? I understand. Gu Changge nodded, felt the return object bound to the system in his mind, and decided to wait for a while before going out. Anyway, the other party was in the Changsheng family, so there was no rush. When Gu Changge came to the meeting hall, in the meeting hall, all the elders of the main clan were talking about it. I think this matter is inappropriate. How could our Changsheng family do such a treacherous and shameless thing? If this matter spreads out, I am afraid that our Changsheng family will become a joke in the Zhongzhou Dao Realm. That's right, Changji's talent is already extremely high, so there's no need to be like this, right? Why not? This is Supreme Bone plus dual pupils. With this kind of qualification, my Changsheng family will definitely produce another Emperor realm. Yes, and the Supreme Bone holder is just a little girl attached to our main line. Her parents died early and she was not popular with others. She was brought into the main line after awakening Supreme Bone. Now Changgu has just become the first sequence. With Supreme Bone's blessing, Divine Child's position will definitely be secure. Chapter 2. All right. While the clan elders were discussing in the meeting hall, the leader sitting at the table finally spoke. The head of the Changsheng family, Gu Qing. He is also Gu Changge's father in this world. As the head of the Changsheng family, Gu Qing's strength has already reached the King realm, and he is still on the 9th level of the King realm. He is one step away from entering the existence of a quasi-sage. This world is divided into 12 realms in total. Open the pulse, conceive the soul, transform liquid, Hong Qiao, Wheel of Life, Spirit Ascension, Enlightenment, Immortal Transformation, King, Quasi-Saint, Saint, Emperor Realm. Each realm is also subdivided into 9 levels. Coming to the last 4 realms, even the first king level can be regarded as the top master in the 3,000 realms. As for the quasi-sage and saint, it is the foundation of an immortal holy land and an immortal family. As for Emperor Realm, except for the ancestors who created immortal holy places and immortal families, there has been no Emperor Realm born for hundreds of thousands of years. Gu Qing spoke, and all the clan elders in the meeting hall looked at him. He raised his head slightly, looked at the door of the meeting hall, and said with a smile, "How about this matter? Let Changgu make his own decision. We still don't want to make decisions for him, and those who have Supreme Bone are also members of our Immortal Gu family. Even if the branch is also a person who cares about the family forever. If Changgu needs Supreme Bone, then the main branch must provide the best treatment in other aspects. This is the best Gu Qing can do. If Gu Changgu wants to seize the Supreme Bone, he won't say anything. He can only try his best to compensate the Supreme Bone host. This is the world of the jungle. Without background and strength, he will be slaughtered by others, even in the family and the Holy Land." After Gu Qing finished speaking, he continued to the door of the meeting hall. "What do you think, Changgu?" As Gu Qing finished speaking, the elders in the meeting hall also looked at the door of the meeting hall. "I saw a young man standing there with a slender figure, like a bamboo in the wind. I don't know when he stood there. He had handsome features. Although he is still quite immature, you can imagine how prosperous he will be when he grows up. God is handsome." However, compared to the attention of everyone, Gu Changgu was a little confused at this time. What did he hear? My father and other clan elders seem to be planning to dig up a Supreme Bone for themselves. Based on the fact that I haven't awakened Su Hui and have a self-centered, everything-only personality, I might really not refuse. But after awakening Su Hui, Guchanga felt that the buffs were full. Damn it. Branch, no background, supreme bone, still dual pupils. I am afraid that if it continues to develop, the lineage behind me, or the entire Changsheng family, will directly GG. When Guchanga heard the news, that made him burnt on the outside and tender on the inside. In the side room on the side of the meeting hall, a young girl in green clothes who looked to be about 14 years old, with a delicate face, suddenly opened her eyes. When she opened her eyes, a terrifying power flashed from her young body, and countless mysterious runes and pictures floated past her beautiful eyes as bright as black pearls. Count interest. After all the strange phenomena in the girl's eyes subsided, her originally peaceful and pretty face gradually showed signs of astonishment, confusion, and shock. I am reborn. Gu Qingqiu raised his little hand and looked at the layout of the entire room, finally convinced of the fact that he was reborn. Gu Qingqiu murmured, I've heard of reincarnation and rebuilding, and seizing one's body and rebuilding, but I've never heard of being able to be reborn and rebuild. I thought everything would be settled by then. If I could do it again. When Gu Qingqiu said this, the light in his beautiful eyes became brighter and brighter, and Xiaowei's charming face gradually became filled with a smile. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Gu Qingqiu began to recall the current time. Gu Qingqiu looked at the familiar environment around him, and thoughts began to surge in his mind. This room seems to be the room where the Gu family's main lineage dug up my supreme bone and dedicated it to Guchanga. Does that mean that I am in the process of having my bones dug out not too long ago? When Gu Qingqiu said this, a sarcastic smile appeared on his face. Gu Qingqiu no longer wanted to recall the story of his previous life, when he was exiled to the Gu family's ancestral land and then rose up and returned. But Gu Qingqiu will never forget that when she fought against the Changsheng family and defeated Guchanga, the elders of the Changsheng family were in disbelief and even scolded her. With her rise, the Changsheng family also realized their mistakes and constantly begged for forgiveness. They also paid a heavy price in the process, losing several quasi-sages and a saint ancestor at the cost of helping her. But after all, we can never go back to the original moment. When Gu Qingqiu found out that she had awakened the supreme bone and was accepted by the main line of the Changsheng family, who knew how happy she was, and who knew how determined she was to repay the family, but what she was waiting for was to be expelled and expelled. Gu Qingqiu took a deep breath, his beautiful eyes filled with a mature look that was not what a 14-year-old girl should have. This time, the elders of the Changsheng family will probably still be able to dig out bones. With my current lack of cultivation, it is impossible for me to make any resistance, and the room is also restricted. Without spiritual power, even if I have all my knowledge, I can't break through it. It looks like the bones are going to be dug out again. Gu Qingqiu pursed his lips. That's fine. After digging up the bones, I will be exiled to the Gu family's ancestral land of longevity. Just like in my previous life, I can obtain a treasure in the Gu family's ancestral land, and I can open it in advance to speed up my second supreme bone. The birth of Gu Qingqiu made up his mind and lay back on the bed, waiting for the moment when his bones would be dug out. Guchanga's mind was filled with thoughts and his scalp was numb, but his face remained calm and unruffled. It wasn't until he entered the meeting hall that Guchanga smiled. Master of the family, fellow clan elders, Changa is concerned about this matter. When Guchanga spoke, the ears of all the elders stood up. Based on their understanding of Guchanga would definitely not be able to let go of Supreme Bone's talents, which represent another path to power. Even Gu Qing thought so, and even the elders of the Council Palace clan had already prepared to get up immediately after Guchanga agreed, and together they took Guchanga to the side room where Gu Qingqiu was imprisoned. However, what Guchanga said the next second made Gu Qing and all the elders of the main lineage present widen their eyes. Changa strongly opposes this matter. Guchanga spoke coolly, neither humble nor overbearing, with a decisive tone. Some clan elders even doubted whether they heard it wrong, and rubbed their ears to confirm again. Gu Qing was stunned. He sat in his seat and looked at Guchanga below, and asked in astonishment, Changa, what did you say? I said I refuse. Guchanga answered again. Chapter 3. As soon as the words fell, the entire meeting hall fell silent instantly, and every clan elder had an incredible look on his face. Some clan elders couldn't help but persuade Guchanga. Changa, do you know how noble Supreme Bone is? Yes, Supreme Bone is born supreme. With just one supreme bone, one can become invincible at the same level, and can even defeat geniuses and monsters whose realm is higher than one's own. Supreme bone. Of course Guchanga knew. It would be better to say that no one in the 3000 Dao Realm knows the power of supreme bone. Just because he knew it, Guchanga didn't want it even more. This seems to be a full buff, and besides, he already has dual pupils, and with the invincible return system, there is no need to do this kind of thing for a supreme bone. Changa knows. Guchanga nodded. Then you. A clan elder couldn't help but said. But as soon as he opened his mouth, Guchanga blocked his words, and even said something that shocked the whole audience. Dual pupils is already invincible, so why borrow another person's bones? Not to mention a younger sister. Guchanga had his hands behind his back, his posture was tall and straight, and his tone was confident and indifferent. As he spoke, an invincible temperament emanated from him. The hearts of all the clan elders were shocked, and their ears were ringing. Some looked appreciative, while others looked regretful. Okay, you are worthy of being the first in line of my Immortal Gu family. Dual pupils is invincible, so there is no need to borrow another person's bones. Guqing laughed loudly, stood up and said, with such magnanimity, even if Changgu has no talent, he will definitely be able to make a name for himself in the Zhongzhou Dao Domain in the future. Now with the help of my Immortal Gu family, it will be no problem to resound throughout the 3000 Dao Domains. Seeing this, all the clan elders could only sigh helplessly. They also do this for the good of the main line. After all, if a monster with dual pupils and supreme bone really appeared, his reputation alone would already be famous in 3000 realms, not to mention Guchanga's talent and character. After Guqing finished speaking, he looked at Guchanga with great satisfaction and said, since you have made the decision, Changa, let's go meet Qingqiu. If Qingqiu's supreme bone is not taken away, she will definitely be one of the pillars of my Changsheng Gu family in the future. Some things must be explained to Qingqiu in advance. She is still young, but we cannot hide what we have done. Any conflicts must be resolved in the smallest possible way. Guchanga nodded when he heard this. Just in terms of how he handles things, Guqing is already the head of the Changsheng Gu family. Not to mention that he is a 9th level king realm, a powerful being that is close to a quasi-sage. Everyone moved to seal off the side room where Gu Qingqiu was. Gu Qingqiu, who was lying on the bed, suddenly became nervous when he felt the restriction dissipate and footsteps could be heard outside the door. Are you coming? The Changsheng Gu family is just as I remembered. I can't wait to dig out my supreme bone. Hee. After being reborn, he was about to experience the pain of digging out bones again. Gu Qingqiu only had infinite sneers and ridicule in his heart. Squeak, the door opens. Scattered footsteps sounded. Gu Qingqiu knew that besides Guqing and Guchanga, there were also a number of elders from the main lineage clan during the excavation, so it was not surprising that there were so many footsteps. On the bed, an exquisite girl aged 14 or 15 years old is lying on the bed. She has exquisite facial features and is carved with pink and jade. Even though she is not very old, her temperament is like a green lotus mushroom, just waiting to bloom. She has already begun to take on a charming appearance at a young age. You can imagine how powerful you will be when you grow up. Guqing and the rest of the clan looked at Gu Qingqiu on the bed. Even they had to admit that he was worthy of being the host of the Supreme Bone. At first glance, he seemed to be a combination of the heaven and earth's bells and spirits. He was as perfect as an outstanding work of heaven. Many clan elders praised Gu Qingqiu for being so perfect at such a young age. Guchanga looked stunned and shocked inside. When he came here just now, Guchanga found that he was getting closer and closer to the binding return target screen by the system. Go all the way to the door. Only then did Guchanga confirm that the person with the supreme bone in the room was the target person who was bound and returned by the system. If I remember correctly, this person's name seems to be Gu Qingqiu. Supreme Bone was awakened a month ago. No one in the Changsheng Gu family knows about it yet. Only those in their main lineage know about it. I went, but I didn't expect that the person who met the goal of binding and returning the system would be someone with Supreme Bone. When Guchanga was surprised, the system prompt message also appeared. A ding, it is detected that the host is close to the system and meets the system investment return target. Do you want to check the information? A weather, ding, it is detected that the host is close to the system and meets the system investment return target. Do you want to bind it? Weather. Looking at the information in front of him, Guchanga looked at Gu Qingqiu lying on the bed and said directly to the system, check the information first. Scanning the daughter of the branch of the Gu family of Changsheng, Gu Qingqiu. Information generation completed. Nickname, Gu Qingqiu, identity. The daughter of the Gu family branch of Changsheng, the reborn supreme. The daughter of luck, physique. Supreme bone. Exercise. None yet. Divine ability. None. Recent fortune. You can view it after binding. Gu Changge checked Gu Qingqiu's information. Other skills, body, constitution, etc. were all expected. However, when he saw his identity, he couldn't hold back. Reborn Supreme? F***K. Gu Changge's eyes widened, confirming that he had read correctly. He never expected that Gu Qingqiu would be reborn and become a top being in the Emperor Realm. Supreme equals Emperor Realm, hiss. Gu Changge was glad for his decision and at the same time praised his evasive ability. Fortunately, I didn't agree. Otherwise, if she offends a lucky girl who is reborn as Supreme and is pregnant with the Supreme Bone, even the Immortal Gu family may not be able to survive. But knowing that Gu Qingqiu had such an impressive background, Gu Changge had no intention of rejecting his first binding partner. Investing in a reborn Supreme who is pregnant with Supreme Bone and is also a girl of luck is not a loss no matter how you think about it. Gu Changge's heart moved. The system binds Gu Qingqiu as the investment return target. Ding! Binding successful. Bound target. Gu Qingqiu. The recent fortune of the bound target has been unlocked. After Gu Changge finished all this, Gu Qing and other clan elders saw that Gu Changge had been staring at Gu Qingqiu since he entered. Gu Qing thought that Gu Changge had regretted it on the way, so he asked with a smile, "Changge, have you changed your mind?"
No.
Gu Changge denied it. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the system prompts in the next second made his eyes and pupils shrink slightly, and he was shocked and ecstatic. Ding! The host changed the destiny trajectory, rejected the Supreme Bone, and triggered the return mechanism. Congratulations to the host for getting the first return. Congratulations to the host for triggering the first return of billions of times the critical hit. Host investment binding target. Gu Qingqiu Supreme Bone. Get billions of times return. Immortal Bone. The special characteristics of the Immortal Bones are detected, and the return rewards begin to be distributed for fusion. Chapter 4. Start Fusion. Weather. Looking at the information in front of him, Gu Changge immediately chose, no, now is not the time to fuse fairy bones. However, after rejecting it, Gu Changge was very pleasantly surprised, because this was an immortal bone. He also didn't expect that after rejecting Supreme Bone, he would be able to trigger the return mechanism, and this fateful trajectory was also very interesting. Could it be that his destiny is to accept Supreme Bone? Good guy. Gu Changge can only say that he is indeed full of buffs. Then you are? Gu Qing saw Gu Changge staring at Gu Qingqiu without blinking, and thought he was attracted by Gu Qingqiu's appearance, so he said, "Speaking of which, Changge has no one to serve him. Qingqiu is very talented and possesses the Supreme Bone, but can be your helper. Can you let her become your maid and serve you?" Well, Gu Changge was stunned. The clan elders on the side were also shocked when they heard this. Gu Changge was stunned for a moment, then smiled helplessly. The head of the family is joking. Qingqiu is the clan sister. How can she be my maid? Gu Qing frowned. If you don't want to be a maid, do you still want her to be your wife and concubine? Question mark. The corners of Gu Changge's mouth twitched. No, what's going on with this cheap daddy of ours? She was either a maid or a concubine, and she seemed to have fallen in love with her. No. Gu Changge shook his head. Then why were you staring at her just now? Gu Qing asked doubtfully. Did he misunderstand Gu Changge's look just now? It shouldn't be. All men understand that kind of appreciation. I just took a glance at it, and then I was looking at the system information. What kept staring at her? Gu Changge said speechlessly. I just wanted to see what's magical about Supreme Bone. Father, did you misunderstand me? Cough. Gu Qing coughed slightly in embarrassment upon hearing this. The head of the Gu Changge family stopped calling him and called him father directly, which showed how speechless he was. Gu Qing said awkwardly, "Really?" However, the Supreme Bone is hidden in the flesh and blood, and its deity is restrained. Changge, you reject the Supreme Bone, but it is difficult to truly see its true face. While Gu Changge and Gu Qing were communicating, Gu Qingqiu was stunned while listening to their exchange. What the hell? Gu Changge rejected his Supreme Bone? What's going on? Gu Qingqiu's head was buzzing. According to his memories before his rebirth, shouldn't Gu Qing and Gu Changge dig out the bones directly after the clans came over? How could Gu Changge refuse? Gu Qingqiu's inner thoughts were rolling, and it was hard to believe. Gu Changge shook his head. Father, the reason why our immortal family has stood eternity, overlooking the top of all living beings, is not the inheritance of blood, but the unity of one heart and one body, which can cut through metal. You asked me to dig up the supreme bone, the sister of the clan. How could I agree? Gu Qing was stunned for a moment, then smiled bitterly. Of course my father knows. The elders of the tribe were embarrassed when they heard this. Of course they also know this. But this is supreme bone. Whether it is the dual pupils who are born sacred, or the supreme bone who is born supreme, either one has earth-shattering, invincible talent. If the two merge into one, you can imagine what a terrifying and invincible genius will be created. Therefore, they turned a blind eye to these things and stopped hearing them. But now that Gu Changge refused, he felt inexplicably relieved and no longer had to suffer inner condemnation. After Gu Changge finished speaking, he looked at Gu Qingqiu and said, "The Qingqiu clan girl is from a branch lineage. Her parents are dead, she has no support, and she has supreme bone. Father, let the Qingqiu clan girl be my sister. I will take good care of you, hers." Gu Changge made another big decision. Let Gu Qingqiu be your sister? No? Is this still the same Gu Changge who only focuses on cultivation and is a bit cold to others in his clan? I always feel that Gu Changge's personality has changed a lot since he became the first sequence. But being able to think about the family and value love and justice is what they want to see. Gu Qing nodded when he heard this. That's fine. In that case, let her be your sister. Supreme Bone's future achievements will be at least the saint level. It's okay to have a good relationship since childhood. Gu Changge nodded, and then said to Gu Qing and the clan elders, "After Sister Qingqiu wakes up, my father will arrange for Sister Qingqiu to live in my first sect mansion. Changge will leave first. Go for it." Gu Qing smiled. Seeing this, all the elders from the tribe also hurriedly smiled. Gu Changge left, leaving Gu Qing and a group of elders in the side room quietly. Some clan elders were still looking at Gu Qingqiu, who was sleeping peacefully on the bed with some reluctance, and said, "Master, are you really not going to let Changgu merge with Supreme Bone? This is dual pupils plus Supreme Bone." Another clan elder also said, "With dual pupils and Supreme Bone, our Changge will surely be invincible in the 3,000 Dao Realm and achieve the throne of Invincible God." You're obsessed. Gu Qing glanced at the clan elder who was speaking and said calmly, "Didn't Changge say that? Dual pupils is already invincible. So why borrow another person's bone, let alone a sister's bone? Since Changge already has a plan, we can't force it. Not necessarily a good thing." Alas, all the clansmen sighed. "Let's go. There will be a coming-of-age ceremony test soon, and the seal there is loose again. We have to strengthen the seal, otherwise something goes wrong and the consequences will be unbearable." Gu Qing and the clan elders left. After a quarter of an hour, after Gu Qingqiu confirmed that there was no one in the room, he opened his beautiful eyes, filled with surprise. What's going on? Things didn't develop according to memory? Gu Changge doesn't want my supreme bone? Am I not reborn, but just having a dream? Gu Qingqiu murmured, but then she shook her head. Impossible. The opportunities for the various techniques in my mind are extremely clear. It cannot be a dream, Gu Qingqiu said, and looked at the door in confusion. But Gu Changge didn't want me supreme bone, and even changed the minds of Gu Qing and other mainline strongmen? I opened it the wrong way? And Gu Changge actually said that dual pupils is invincible, so why bother borrowing other people's bones? This has begun to take shape. In his previous life, he didn't have this kind of spirit. He only gradually cultivated it after merging supreme bone and dual pupils to become a divine child, walking around the world and competing against the 3,000 geniuses in the realm. And he didn't strong. It shows that the Taoist heart is not so firm. Not only that, he actually protected me and treated me as his sister. What the hell is going on? Gu Qingqiu felt numb. The development of the matter was completely beyond her expectation. Normally, it shouldn't be digging bones. She relived her memories and became even more desperate for the longevity of the Gu family. Then, relying on her past life memories, she climbed back to the top step by step. Can she go further? As a result, Gu Changge's words and actions immediately left her at a loss. Even though she was once the supreme, it was difficult for her to face the sudden closeness and warmth of her kind. Chapter 5. When Gu Qingqiu was dumbfounded, Gu Changge had already returned to the first row of rooms at this time. Sitting on the bed, Gu Changge looked at the information in front of him, with anticipation and a hint of excitement on his face. This trip has yielded a huge harvest. I didn't expect that not only would I be bound to a reborn female supreme clan girl, but I would also get immortal bones in return. That's awesome. Although I don't know how awesome the immortal bones are, if they are tainted with an immortal character, everything will become earth-shattering and extraordinary. To know, among the 3,000 Emperor Realm Masters from ancient times to the present, who is not chasing the footsteps of immortals, but now he has obtained an immortal bone. The host returns the immortal bones billions of times. Will the fusion begin? Whether. Guchanga looked at the information in front of him and almost confirmed it, but the next second he thought about it and looked around. No need to think. Such a supreme opportunity to fuse the immortal bones will definitely cause earth-shattering news. He has two options. The first covering vision fusion. Let his father Gu Qing take action. He will definitely be able to cover up the vision and continue to settle himself. Just arrange the origin of the fairy bones casually. After all, in this world, even reincarnation and rebuilding would not be surprising. Immortal bones are born out of thin air, and it can be said that they have been brewing in the body. The second is, now that he is wearing dual pupils, he is the first rank. If he brings out the movement of immortal bones again, I am afraid that the following ranks and the people standing behind the ranks will be more wary of him, and the hostile forces may also regard him as a thorn in their side and a thorn in their flesh, standing under a dangerous wall. But Guchanga only hesitated for a moment before choosing the second option. Joke. He is hanging on the wall, and he also possesses dual pupils, the first rank of the immortal family. If he has the talent of immortal bones and still hides it, then he might as well stop practicing and become a Go King. Let your qualifications become more incredible, and with your own status, not only will there be no apparent danger, but you will even get more respect. Thinking of this, Guchanga did not hesitate, and directly said to the system with a thought in his heart, "System, I want to fuse the immortal bones." The moment Guchanga finished speaking, buzz, an inexplicable aura of divine detachment flashed from his body, sitting upright on the bed. It was as if there was a ball of fairy light brewing in his chest, and it began to bloom through the flesh and skin. In an instant, the entire Changsheng family was shrouded in a mysterious aura, like a divine presence. Almost at the moment when this aura appeared, within the Wanli clan of the Changsheng family, terrifying eyes slowly opened, and the powerful aura revived everywhere, and then turned into streaks of divine light rising into the sky. This is an immortal Gu family elder whose cultivation has reached the immortal transformation realm and even the king realm. They stood under the clear sky, looking around, their souls shaking and communicating. What's going on? What happened? This smell makes me feel horrified. Where did it come from? It's weird. Why can't I see any strange phenomena? Is it another true dragon son of my Changsheng family who is about to awaken? A group of elder gods vibrated and communicated with each other. Some of the children of the immortal Gu family also looked at the sky in shock, because they have never seen so many family elders appear all at once. They must know that these clan elders have high positions and extraordinary cultivation. Except for the core genius of the clan or the top management, it is difficult to see him on weekdays. There were so many alarms today. The family patriarch shows up. Gu Qing, the head of the Changsheng family, also opened his eyes. At the same time, in the ancestral land of the Changsheng family, there were all dilapidated mounds of earth, coffins placed on the surface, or corpses with haggard hair and faces with only skeletons left. A breathtaking resurgence. The aura emanating from the ancestral land also shocked countless people in the Changsheng family. This mysterious aura actually alarmed all the ancestors in the ancestral land. Hiss. You must know that the ancestors in the ancestral land of the Changsheng family are at the lowest level in the quasi-saint realm, and there are even saints who have participated in creation and even half-step great emperors. When countless people in the Changsheng family were shocked, suddenly, a magnificent celestial light penetrated the 9 heavens and spread for hundreds of millions of miles. Boom! Countless voids in Zhongzhou Dao Domain suddenly seemed to explode. The mighty fairy light rippled across the Zhongzhou Dao Realm, and in an instant, thousands of strange phenomena appeared. Real dragons and phoenixes roar and soar, and unicorns and auspicious beasts run. Even within 300 million miles of the Changsheng family, purple energy came from the east, the fairy light was misty, and there were fairies dancing, which were not like the mortal world, and there were even phantoms of immortals and gods rising into the sky, as if they were ascending. The sudden movement left hundreds of millions of people in the entire Zhongzhou Dao Domain dumbfounded and shocked in their hearts. There are also major immortal holy places. The most powerful members of the Changsheng family stand in the sky, looking into the void, and their eyes fall in the direction of the Changsheng family. Ancient Nest. A King Realm 9th Layer. The real dragon who was about to step into the quasi-sage roared in shock. Impossible. How could such a vision come from the Changsheng family? And the human race has added another invincible genius. Holy Spirit Mountain. One has the same cultivation level as the real dragon from the ancient dragon nest, and is even more terrifying to the Holy Spirit. He also stands on the top of the mountains and looks in the direction of the Immortal Gu family. Can cause such a terrible phenomenon? Come and investigate. People with such talents must be strangled in the cradle. The balance between the human race and us cannot be broken. Besides, the terrifying hostile human race forces such as the Immortal Mountain, the Absolute Beginning Ancient Mine, and the Underworld also began to investigate the causes of these anomalies. There are 3,000 realms, although human race is the largest. But apart from human race also has great enemies. The ancient ferocious beast clan, the Holy Spirit clan, the zombie clan, the Absolute Beginning clan, the ghost clan, and the underworld, etc., are all the enemies of the human race. They are watching with eager eyes. Once the human race shows its flaws, it will surely overthrow the 3,000 Dao Realm and become the 3,000 Dao Realm again. Overlord. Although human race is powerful, it has terrible internal conflicts. If not, I am afraid that the lives of these alien races will not be so nourishing, and they will still be able to compete with the human race. Stab. When countless creatures and powerful forces in the Zhongzhou Dao Domain were shocked, a hand ripped open the void of thousands of miles above the first sequence of Gu Chang's mansion of the Changsheng family. Immediately afterwards, an old man who looked like a withered man and was covered in mud, but whose eyes were like stars filled with thousands of rhymes, walked out. Oh? The person who caused such shocking visions is actually the first in line of my Changsheng family in this life. Okay, I already have the qualification transcendent, but now I have awakened the mysterious qualification to create such terrifying visions. I am afraid that my Immortal Gu family will not produce another supreme saint in this life. The old man looked surprised and stared at the first sequence of mansions below. When the old man appeared, an elder from the respected clan was already approaching, as was Gu Qing and others. When they saw the old man clearly, their bodies all shook and their eyes shrank. This is a saint ancestor. Hiss, did this vision actually alarm the saint ancestor? Chapter 6. The old man stands in the sky, his robes gently dancing in the wind, which makes him look free and extraordinary. But that's not the point. The key point is that the old man stands in the sky, without any divine power, but gives people a feeling of the terrifying scorching sun manifesting. He is the scorching sun. Seeing this kind of scene, the clan elders who had gathered were all shocked. Looking at this situation, it could be Patriarch Gu Yang. Hiss. Ancestor Gu Yang? Could it be that Ancestor Gu Yang who appeared 1,000 years ago and used the power of the sun to burn thousands of miles of blood sea in an instant and kill the terrifying blood demon that caused trouble in the Zhongzhou Dao Domain? Speaking of it this way, there are scriptures in the clan that record that when Patriarch Gu Yang was born to slay the blood demon, the sun was shining across the sky, and the power of the true sun burned the sky and boiled the sea, and a golden crow appeared, which shocked the world. Even though thousands of years have passed, Zhongzhou Dao Domain still remembers the power of Ancestor Gu Yang. All the clan elders were shocked and talking. But with Gu Qing's respectful visit, their suspicions were completely confirmed. Meet Ancestor Gu Yang. Gu Qing bowed his head gently to Gu Yang, who stood for 9 days like a bright sun, with a very respectful tone. The other clan elders reacted and immediately bent down and knelt down. Meet Ancestor Gu Yang. The voices of the elders of the Gu family filled the sky. The children of the Changsheng Gu family were shocked when they heard this. My God, what an ancestor! It turned out to be Patriarch Gu Yang. Patriarch Gu Yang is a monk in the Saint Realm. He has reached the pinnacle of cultivation. I actually saw the birth of the saint ancestor. Who caused this vision? It actually caused the ancestor of the saint to be born. This time he is going to soar into the sky. Gu Yang looked down at Gu Qing and other clan elders, nodded and smiled softly. That's right. My Immortal Gu family has added an invincible evildoer, and it's also the first rank. Haha, it's really good. Gu Yang finished speaking. The whole Changsheng Gu family can hear the news. The children of the Gu family who were still shocked to see the ancestor of the saint just now were even more buzzing in their heads. No. What did they hear? What? The terrifying vision just now is the first sequence? The first sequence is Mr. Chang'e, right? Isn't Mr. Chang'e already born holy and possessing dual pupils? This is impossible. I'm already possessed of dual pupils, and I can still awaken such a huge and terrifying vision. The children of the Changsheng family were all horrified, and the major ranks of the Changsheng family also had blazing eyes at this time. Or their beautiful eyes appeared abnormally, looking in the direction of the first line of the mansion. Not just the children of the Changsheng family. Gu Qing and all the elders of the Gu family were also stunned. They had just sensed the vision, but they had not confirmed who caused it. No wonder the ancestor actually appeared above the first sequence mansion, tearing apart the void. It turned out that the terrifying vision he had just awakened was actually the work of Gu Changge. But Gu Changge already possesses dual pupils. Now this vision is no less than when he was born, and the dual pupil's vision is no less manifested. Now he doesn't know what kind of talent he has awakened to cause such a commotion. Gu Changge didn't know the external situation yet, but he had already integrated the immortal bones at this time. When I sensed my chest with my spiritual mind, I saw only a ball of dense fairy light in the chaos, as if it was nurturing an immortal god. There seemed to be a great terror inside, and a single ray of it could overwhelm the world. Besides, when fusing the immortal bones, Gu Changge's physical body was quenched by the power of the immortal bones. The strength of his physical body alone has reached 1 million kilograms, which is comparable to that of a monk in the Hongqiao realm. His cultivation level has even exceeded the Hongqiao level, triggering the manifestation of the Wheel of Life in his dantian. The first 4 realms of a monk are opening channels, conceiving spirit, transforming liquid, and Hongqiao. The first 4 realms are the foundation and polishing realm. Gu Changge is the first in line for the longevity Gu family, and naturally the Dao foundation is polished to perfection. After that comes the realm that truly nurtures the power of a great monk, called Wheel of Life, Spirit Ascension, Enlightenment, and Immortal Transformation. Gu Changge had already opened his life wheel at this time. Above the dantian, a 9-line life wheel is slowly rotating. As the life wheel rotates, drops of spiritual power are ground up and drip down from the life wheel to form cultivation spiritual power. There are 9 fortune wheels. The more lines there are, the more transcendent the qualification is. My 9-marked destiny wheel is already an invincible talent. But now that I have immortal bones, the immortal bones can actually help me conceive and nourish my life wheel. Not only that, but it also subtly strengthens my physical body. The 9 lines have not reached their limit yet. Can I still continue to give birth to lifelines and enhance my foundation? If this is the case, this ability alone is enough to be worthy of the name of Immortal Bone. And my immortal bones are brewing. I don't know what kind of amazing divine ability I can brew. Gu Changge is extremely satisfied with the immortal bones. As for the external news, of course Gu Changge also knew about it, but he was not in a hurry to go out. He didn't open his eyes until he completely digested the opportunity brought by the immortal bones. Gu Changge's immortal bone has completed its awakening. Ancestor Gu Yang above the sky also sensed something and said with a smile, "It seems that it has finished awakening." After Gu Yang finished speaking, a stream of light flew out from the first sequence of residences. In the realm of the Wheel of Life, one can step on the void, transform into a stream of light, travel thousands of miles in a day, fly into the sky and escape from the earth. This is the symbol of a great monk. Gu Changge transformed into a stream of light, which dazzled the children of the Changsheng family for a moment. Incarnated as a stream of light, Mr. Changge has broken through the Wheel of Life. How old is Mr. Changge? He seems to be only 16, right? 16-year-old's fortune wheel? Oh my god. Not only that, but he also possesses dual pupils, and he has just awakened his unparalleled talent. Oh my god. My immortal Gu family is really going to produce an invincible true dragon. A member of the Gu family lost his voice. When Gu Qing saw that Gu Changge could turn into a stream of light and stand side by side with them, his eyes shrank slightly, and then he was overjoyed. As expected of him, Gu Qing's son. My son has the qualities of a great emperor. Gu Changge pays homage to the ancestor, the head of the family, and all the clan elders. Gu Changge's expression was calm, and his face did not change. He naturally saluted Gu Yang, Gu Qing, and all the clan elders one by one. The young man looks quite immature, but when faced with such a scene, he has a calm expression. Although his facial features are immature, he is also extremely handsome. He is dressed in a black gold noble robe, and his posture is as tall and straight as a poplar. His temperament is noble, but also has a touch of ethereal detachment, meaning his current appearance alone has attracted the attention of countless women. One can imagine how prosperous and handsome he will be when he grows up. Although appearance is not that important in this world where strength is the most important, a good-looking skin can indeed add points. Gu Yang looked at Gu Chang'e in front of him with a look of affection on his face, nodded and smiled softly. Not bad, not bad. You are worthy of being the first in line of my immortal Gu family. You already have dual pupils, and now you are the second awakened one. You are an extraordinary talent, so you must be my divine child. Are you willing to be my divine child? Chapter 7. As soon as these words came out, the children of the Gu family who were originally noisy and shocked suddenly exploded. Gu Qing and all the clan elders looked at Gu Yang with shocked expressions. This is the ancestor of our saint directly appointed the divine child to Gu Chang'e? Everyone's minds were buzzing. Gu Chang'e was stunned inwardly, but his expression remained calm as he looked at Patriarch Gu Yang who had just come to him. Gu Yang looked at Gu Chang'e with a kind face, his eyes full of admiration, although he didn't know what Gu Chang'e's second awakening talent was. But judging from the magnificent scene just now, it doesn't take much to know that it is definitely the strongest talent. With dual pupils, the second awakened supreme talent, and now that Gu Chang'e is already in the first sequence, that's why he made this suggestion. What do you think? Gu Yang asked Gu Chang'e again. Gu Chang'e was about to speak, but the other branch clans watching on the sidelines couldn't sit still. You must know that the position of divine child has not yet been determined. Other sequences supported by their branches also have a chance to be ranked as divine child. Now Gu Chang'e was directly designated as divine child by his ancestor. What the hell is that? If it's settled, wasn't what they had done before completely in vain? The Changsheng family is consistent externally and does not have two minds, but it also needs to be competitive internally. Supporting a talented person from your own family to become a divine child is one of the competitions. However, this competition is a healthy competition, and it will only provide resources to assist the target to compete. If they attack their own family, then I'm sorry, I have to be eliminated by others. The Changsheng Gu family has been passed down through the ages, so they naturally have their own way of doing things. Rather, every immortal family that stands at the top of the Dao Domain in the immortal Holy Land has its own set of laws. Although they are similar, they are all operating rules that are most suitable for matching forces. Ancestor. This matter still needs to be considered. Yes, since ancient times, the Changsheng Gu family has relied on their own strength to compete. How can they determine the position of divine child just by showing some talent? I dare to say that this is unfair to other sequencers. An elder from the famous clan stood up and spoke. When Gu Qing and the main lineage elder heard this, they looked at each other one after another. Then a main lineage elder stood up and hummed. What's wrong? Chang'e is a born dual pupils, and now he has awakened his second heaven-defying talent. With such talent, who is the opponent, not to mention that Chang'e is in the first rank, doesn't the first rank not prove that his strength is already higher than that of the younger generation of the entire Changsheng Gu family? Other elders from the main lineages spoke in agreement. I think Elder Gu Su is right. Yes, we don't need to say more about what the first sequence represents, right? Not to mention that Chang'e has reached the life wheel realm. Who else would give me a 16-year-old life wheel? The elder from the main clan is full of confidence. He looks at the other elders from the branch clan with smiles and is extremely confident. The branch tribe was so angry that they blew their beards and stared. Gu Yang nodded slightly when he saw this, smiled and looked at the opposing clan elders and said, Is there a destiny wheel realm in the sequence now? If so, let him come out to fight Gu Chang'e, and the winner can also appoint him as my ancestor. Divine child. After Gu Yang finished speaking, the whole place was silent. The old Zamai tribe hesitated, and his face twitched, because this really didn't exist. Since there is no such thing, then just listen to my arrangements. Gu Yang glanced at the elders of the clan, turned around and looked at Gu Chang'e again with a smile. Thank you for your great love, ancestor. Since the ancestor has appointed divine child, there is no reason why Chang Gu should disagree. Gu Chang'e bowed to Gu Yang and agreed happily. Okay. Gu Yang laughed loudly upon hearing this. But the next second, what Gu Chang'e said caught everyone present unexpectedly. However, since Chang'e became the divine child like this, I'm afraid some people in the clan are dissatisfied, and it will be difficult to convince the entire Changsheng Gu family. This will be detrimental to my future leadership of the Changsheng Gu family. After Gu Chang'e said that, he turned around and looked at the shocked elders of the branch clan, and said loudly in the direction of the major sequences. In this way, I, Gu Chang'e, will give my brothers and sisters a chance. As long as anyone can defeat me before the previous divine child competition, Chang Gu will resign, and no longer hold the position of divine child. Boom. Gu Chang's words were like a drop of hot oil dripping into the calm pool of the Gu family's eternal life. Everyone could tell that this was Gu Chang'e declaring war on the younger generation, forcing everyone in the younger generation of the Gu family to surrender. If not, he would not be the divine child. Somewhere in the courtyard of the Changsheng Gu family, a young man with a long gun and a broad and thick face showed a fighting spirit on his face. Okay, Gu Chang'e, I will definitely avenge my shame in the sequence competition. Another courtyard. A young man with an ordinary face who carried a mysterious ruler on his back, but his eyes contained the dazzling morning light, also murmured, "Oh, does this give us a chance to become a stepping stone?" But who will become a stepping stone by then is not certain yet. What happened in these two courtyards also happened in other Changsheng Gu family courtyards. All of them were the talented ones who had shown their talents in the previous Changsheng Gu family series competition. After hearing what Gu Chang'e said at this time, they all showed fighting spirit on their faces and felt full of joy in their hearts. He is worthy of being the true dragon son that my ancestor likes. He has insight into people's hearts and handles things calmly. He has already led the generation of my immortal Gu family. Changgu, the future longevity of the Gu family depends on you. Perhaps it was the end of the matter. Gu Yang laughed and transformed into a flying rainbow, flying towards the supreme ancestral home of the Gu family. Seeing this, Gu Yang and other clan elders saluted Fei Home. Farewell to my ancestor. The matter of Gu Chang'e becoming the divine child of the everlasting Gu family was inexplicably settled. It's just that the divine child he became in advance is different from the previous divine child, because as long as he becomes the sequence, he can challenge Gu Chang'e. And as long as Gu Chang'e is defeated, Gu Chang'e's position as divine child can be replaced, and this former divine child will no longer succeed to the position of divine child. This kind of thing can be said to have never happened in the past years of the Changsheng Gu family. The entire Changsheng Gu family has an undercurrent due to this, and many of the Immortal Gu family's geniuses and evildoers will suddenly start cultivating at that time. Even if it will be replaced in the future, they still want to taste the taste of Dangdang Divine Child. And at this time, Gu Qingqiu, who was being taken care of by the maids and was about to go to the first sequence mansion to become Gu Chang'e's guardian sister, was now uneasy and his beautiful eyes were full of shock. That one just now was the breath of immortality. Moreover, Gu Chang'e was appointed divine child? This development is completely different from the development in my memory. Chapter 8. Gu Qingqiu's heart was greatly shocked. He looked in the direction of the first row of mansions and couldn't hide the shock in his eyes. Even if Supreme is reborn, it is unbelievable to see the aura of the representative immortal emanating from Gu Chang'e's mansion. Miss Gu, everything is ready. You can go to Mr. Chang'e's residence. When Gu Qingqiu was shocked, the maid next to him looked respectful and said to Gu Qingqiu with envy, "Okay." Gu Qingqiu suppressed the shock in his heart and responded calmly. Then he and the two assigned maids took him to the first sequence mansion for a visit. Although Gu Chang'e recognized Gu Qingqiu as his sister, the specific situation depends on Gu Chang'e's attitude. Therefore, no one dared to neglect Gu Qingqiu until it was confirmed whether Gu Chang'e regarded Gu Qingqiu as his sister. The first series of houses. At this time, Gu Qing and a group of elders from the clan came here. All their eyes focused on a young man who looked young but was beginning to show his handsomeness. Gu Qing looked curious and asked Gu Chang'e, "Chang'e, what is the second talent you awakened?" Gu Qing spoke, and all the elders in the room raised their ears and listened carefully. With so many people there just now, it was natural for them not to ask about Gu Chang'e's awakened talent. After all, the matter was so important that it was better not to make it public so soon. But now that all the senior officials of the Changsheng Gu family are present, there is no problem with this. Gu Chang'e raised the corners of his mouth slightly and did not answer. He directly answered with actions what Gu Qing and other clan elders wanted to know. Buzz! A wave of terror swept across the entire place instantly, and even Gu Qing, a strong man on the 9th level of the King realm, felt a sense of oppression from different levels of life. Not to mention other clan elders. His face turned slightly red. Then there were pairs of incredible eyes, staring at Gu Chang'e's chest. Under the fabric of the black gown, a dense ball of fairy light shines through the fabric with a brilliance that cannot be concealed. It even seems like there is a phantom of a fairy sitting in it and is gestating. It may break through the fairy light at any time and erupt with terrifying power. Seeing this scene, everyone present took a breath. Gu Qing was even more unbelievable, and asked Gu Chang'e in an excited tone, "Chang'e, you? Is this Supreme Bone? Gu Qing was stunned. This scene is very similar to the scene when Gu Qingqiu awakened Supreme Bone. Other clan elders were also extremely excited. Some even rubbed their eyes vigorously to confirm whether they had seen it wrong. Supreme Bone? No. Gu Changge looked at the dumbfounded Gu Qing and the clan elders, suppressed his joy and said with a smile, "According to the information I inherited, I should be the legendary Immortal Bone." Boom. Gu Changge's voice sounded like it was exploding in Gu Qing's ears. Immortal Bones? Immortal Bones. They are actually immortal bones. Gu Qing murmured. The other clan elders even trembled and then became ecstatic. Yes, I'm afraid that only immortal bones can have such a huge vision, and it has already shaken the Zhongzhou Dao Domain when it first awakens. You must know that when the Supreme Bone awakened in Qingqiu, it was just 100,000 miles of vision. Compared with Changge's vision of the Immortal Bone awakening, it is not at the same level. Yes, only immortal bones are reasonable, all of a sudden. The way everyone present looked at Gu Changge changed. Dual pupils plus immortal bones. What a terrifying qualification this is. Oh my god. Gu Qing and the elder of the main clan were filled with ecstasy, exchanging glances with each other, their hearts burning. Gu Changge didn't choose to deprive his clan girl of Supreme Bone. Is this a blessing? In an instant, a fairy bone more terrifying than the Supreme Bone was awakened. At this moment, all the elders of the Changsheng Gu family laughed loudly and discussed. Some elders of the branch clans who supported other sequences were also happy, but they also felt bitter in their hearts. After all, a dual pupils can already overwhelm the entire younger generation of the Changsheng Gu family, and now with the addition of Immortal Bones, what chance do other sequences have of winning? Of course, they will definitely not tell other sequences this news. If you hit people too hard, young people will lose their morale. All right. Gu Qing made the first line of residence quiet again. He smiled and looked at Gu Changge with great satisfaction and said, "Changge, you have just awakened the Immortal Bone, and the Supreme Immortal Law is brewing in it. The resources required are probably unimaginable. Since Patriarch Gu Yang has canonized you as Divine Child, then from now on starting from this month, the family will allocate resources to you according to the Divine Child standard, and an additional 20% will be added to this basis." After Gu Qing finished speaking, he turned to look at the clan elders behind him. "What do you think?" "Of course you can. Changge Divine Child is qualified to use these resources." "I agree too." Almost all the elders of the main clan agreed. Gu Changge's talent had already been demonstrated. If they still refused, they would be fools. Infighting and healthy competition are fine, but when it comes to cultivating peerless monsters, the Changsheng Gu family has a different attitude. That means getting whatever you want. "Thank you so much, Patriarch and all the clan elders." Gu Changge was happy in his heart, and he also saluted seriously to Gu Qing and all the clan elders present. Seeing Gu Changge being so polite and gentle, the elders present all admired him in their hearts. This magnanimity alone has already surpassed many sequences. Next, Gu Qing and a group of clan elders began to leave. Gu Changge breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the first sequence of mansions becoming quiet again. Then he felt the strands of flesh being strengthened by immortal bones, and turned around and walked into the room. Vertical sun. Gu Changge sat cross-legged in the room, and various loud sounds came from the room. From time to time, fairy light reflected through the window, as if there was an immortal god practicing inside. After a few breaths, these visions slowly disappeared from the room. Gu Changge opened his eyes, felt the terrifying power of his body, clenched his fist and let out a roar. "In just one night, my physical strength increased from 1,000,000 kilograms to 100,000 kilograms. Hiss, the immortal bones are terrifying. And in my dantian." Gu Changge looked inside his dantian and saw ripples in the 1,000-foot sea of spiritual power. There seemed to be a 9-line life wheel emitting immortal light on it. The life wheel rotated and exuded an extraordinary charm. Thousands of feet of spiritual sea. I have completely consolidated my first-level cultivation in the life wheel realm overnight. The 9 levels of a life wheel, one is 1,000 feet long, and the 9th level is 9,000 feet. When I condense the 9,000 feet of spiritual sea, it will represent the 9th level of my life wheel realm. And because I have raised the 9-line life wheel, the life wheel crushes the condensed spiritual power. 1 drop of spiritual power is enough to surpass 100 drops of ordinary people. The strength of the spiritual power alone is enough to support me to kill the same level and cross the level to kill the enemy. It's even easier. Plus the power of my physical body. The foundation is dozens of times stronger than before. After Gu Changge finished speaking, he stood up from the bed, preparing to go outside to breathe some fresh air and practice his divine ability. After all, to break through to a big realm, you also need to be familiar with the changes in divine ability. But as soon as Gu Changge opened the door, a beautiful maid was waiting outside. Seeing Gu Changge come out, the beautiful maid said respectfully, "Greetings to Divine Child, Divine Child. Miss Qingqiu came to see me last night. You are consolidating and don't dare to disturb me. Divine Child, do you want to see Miss Qingqiu?" Chapter 9. Gu Qingqiu, did you come to Sequence Mansion last night? It seems that this reborn Supreme Girl is quite good at being a good person. She came over to pay her respects first and asked her maid to wait here all night. Gu Changge narrowed his eyes slightly and said with a smile, "Is the Qingqiu clan sister here? Bring her to my yard." "Okay, Divine Child." The maid nodded, glanced at Gu Changge quietly and shyly, and then walked away. Gu Changge thought of Gu Qingqiu's dashboard yesterday, and his heart moved. He checked it. If he remembered correctly, it seemed that he could check Gu Qingqiu's recent fortune. Gu Changge feels that this function is one of the keys to his future success. Nickname, Gu Qingqiu. Identity, daughter of a branch of the Changsheng Gu family, reborn supreme. Strength, 9th level of Pulse Opening Realm. Physique, Supreme Bone. Exercise, Void Sutra. Divine Ability, Void Mahamudra. Recent fortune. Looking at Gu Qingqiu's dashboard, Gu Changge's eyes widened. No, damn it. One night, what happened? Gu Qingqiu only practiced for one night and reached the 9th level of opening meridians? I'll stop him. Is this the rebirth of Supreme? Is cultivation just like eating and drinking? As for Gu Qingqiu's practice of the Void Sutra, it was normal. The opponent is the reborn Supreme, so it is not surprising that he has mastered the Emperor Realm technique of the Immortal Gu family in advance. The outrageousness lies in the opponent's strength panel. It can be said that it was completely different from the previous day. Finally, Gu Changge's eyes fell on Gu Qingqiu's recent fortune. Recent fortune. The fallen and reborn empress should have continued to have the same bumpy fate as her previous life, with her heritage being discovered, but fate is unpredictable, and unpredictable changes have occurred. Now the Supreme Bone is still hidden in her body, blessing the Supreme in her previous life. See, I have already had great fortune. I have been blessed and cultivated by the Divine Child of the Immortal Gu family. My strength will continue to skyrocket. In a month, I will participate in the coming-of-age ceremony trial with the Divine Child of the Immortal Gu family. I will get the Saint-Grade Dragon Elephant in the Void Secret Realm. Achievement. After seeing the 3 words, Long Xianggong, Gu Changge could no longer read the following words. Gu Changge probably couldn't see the upcoming fortune. However, the previous information alone was enough for Gu Changge to digest for a while. Sure enough, the binding return target of the system is not simple. Just based on this little bit of recent luck, you can actually get a Saint-Grade bodybuilding technique. I don't know what amazing opportunities one will get in the future. The Saint-Grade bodybuilding technique, even the Immortal Gu family only has a dozen or so collections, and the Dragon Elephant technique can actually get into the eyes of Gu Qingqiu, the Reborn Supreme, and the system. I'm afraid it's extraordinary. If I cut off my beard and give it back to Gu Qingqiu as a gift, why don't you take off on the spot? The physical body was originally nourished by immortal bones, but Gu Changge's physical strength has far exceeded that of ordinary people. If he continues to practice extraordinary bodybuilding techniques, he may not be invincible. Okay. As soon as Gu Changge thought of this, he began to look forward to it. After checking Gu Qingqiu's information, he sensed that the maid was already standing outside the courtyard with Gu Qingqiu. Gu Changge had already sat down at the jade table made of the finest jade in the courtyard. He looked at the courtyard door and said with a smile, "Come in." The maid who had just arrived outside the courtyard lowered her head slightly and stood at the door, indicating that Gu Qingqiu could enter the courtyard. Although Gu Qingqiu had met Gu Changge countless times in her previous life, and even fought against, defeated, and even killed him in the end, the events in this life left her a bit baffled. After gathering his thoughts, Gu Qingqiu walked into the courtyard. The small courtyard is not big, about 100 feet or so. There is plenty of aura in the courtyard. Under the morning sunshine, it feels like a fairy mist. Among the hazy clouds and mist, a young man is sitting at the stone table in the courtyard, looking at himself with a look in his eyes. Contains a hint of smile. With proximity, the boy gradually became clear. Wearing a black and gold noble gown, you can feel her tall and straight figure even when sitting upright. He has extraordinary handsome features. Although he is immature, He can still see a glimmer of splendor in the future and has the qualities of an immortal. The hair is crystal clear and the energy is divine. That sense of being out of this world made him seem to be otherworldly. Gu Qingqiu almost confirmed it the first time he saw Gu Chang'e. The Gu Chang'e in front of him was completely different from the Gu Chang'e in his previous life memory. Not only did he have a superb temperament, but Gu Qingqiu could feel that there was a great terror in Gu Chang'e that even her, the reborn supreme, could not see through. Certainly, it is also the reason for weak cultivation. But no matter what, the current Gu Chang'e is absolutely weird and extraordinary. Meet the divine child. Gu Qingqiu came to Gu Chang'e and bowed with respect. His voice was like running water and clear spring, and his tone had a touch of coldness. She looked at Gu Chang'e, and of course Gu Chang'e was also looking at the girl in front of her. After some exquisite dressing up, it had to be said that Gu Qingqiu was even more outstanding compared to what he saw in the side room yesterday. The black hair is in a high bun, with 3,000 black hair hanging down on her slender waist. The white jade steps are swaying in the hair, showing a hint of cuteness, bright eyes and white teeth, white jade skin, and facial features that are cool, elegant, and slightly childish. Just seeing this appearance, one can guess how great Chang Kai will be in the future. You're welcome, Sister Qingqiu. Gu Chang'e shook his head, motioned for Gu Qingqiu to sit down and said with a smile, I was busy consolidating my cultivation last night, so I didn't have time to see Sister Qingqiu. Please forgive me. No, I would like to thank Divine Child for protecting me and allowing me to be under Divine Child's command. Gu Qingqiu did not sit down, but bowed to Gu Chang'e again. Thank you, Divine Child, etc. Gu Chang'e waved his hand to signal Gu Qingqiu to pause. Seeing this, Gu Qingqiu couldn't help but be stunned. He raised his head and looked at Gu Chang'e in confusion, wondering what Gu Chang'e was going to do. Gu Chang'e said with a smile on his handsome face, Didn't you say it yesterday? Sister Qingqiu will be my sister from now on. You don't have to be so polite. If you don't mind, I will call you Sister Qingqiu from now on. You can call me Brother Chang'e or Brother Divine Child? ? Seeing Gu Chang'e's posture, Gu Qingqiu's innocent and pretty face was stunned. No? Brother? Are you Gu Chang'e? Are you the selfish Gu Chang'e in my memory who only seeks his own enlightenment? What? Can it? Gu Chang'e frowned and looked at Gu Qingqiu. Although Gu Qingqiu didn't know what was going on, she had no reason to refuse this sudden concern, so she just shook her head. Seeing this, Gu Chang'e nodded with satisfaction. Okay, from now on I will call you Sister Qingqiu, and from now on you can call me Brother Chang'e or Brother Divine Child. Chapter 10. Facing Gu Chang'e's sudden enthusiasm, Gu Qingqiu was immediately at a loss. I originally thought that the other party's claim that she was her sister was just a joke, or that she was trying to win over her because she saw her talent. It turns out you were serious about it. After being exhumed and exiled to the birthplace of the Changsheng Gu family in his previous life, Gu Qingqiu hadn't called anyone such a close name for who knows how long. I didn't expect that now that I was reborn, I would call the bone digger from my previous life my brother. However, Gu Chang'e didn't know what Gu Qingqiu was thinking, so he continued to smile and said, Sister Qingqiu, I didn't prepare any good gifts for our first meeting. If your early cultivation level is not high, I will give you high grade. There is no use for treasures or holy weapons. I happen to have a middle grade treasure in my hand, a colorful umbrella, which has amazing defensive power and is not inferior to high grade treasures. It can be used to protect you in the early stage. Gu Chang'e said, and as he waved his hand, the storage ring on his finger flashed with a bright light. Then a beautiful, shiny, and colorful umbrella appeared in front of me. The umbrella is filled with colorful light, which looks sparkling, and the colored light falls down, forming a cylindrical energy barrier. This is what it looks like after activation. Gu Chang'e demonstrated thoughtfully, and then waved his hands to let the colorful umbrella fall and stand in front of the stunned Gu Qingqiu. Isn't this too expensive? Gu Qingqiu stared at the colorful umbrella in front of him, his eyes twinkling. This special protective treasure is infinitely more valuable than a normal treasure. Not to mention that the defensive power of a middle-grade treasure is comparable to that of a high-grade treasure. I am afraid that its real value is slightly higher than that of a high-grade treasure. This precious umbrella will not be out of date even if it is used in Hongqiao. It's not valuable, just accept it. Gu Chang'e stared at Gu Qingqiu and motioned for him to accept it quickly. He was joking, if you don't accept it, how can I return it? You know, I still have 1,000-fold return card, 1,000-fold return card, and 500-fold return cards in my hand. Right. There are also these elixirs, divine ability, see what you need. As Gu Chang'e said this, He took out a pile of things and placed them on the jade table in front of him, motioning for Gu Qingqiu to come over and choose. When Gu Qingqiu saw this, his thoughts surged in his heart, and he stared at this scene blankly. If Gu Changge had treated him like this in his previous life, how could there be any immortality? The Gu family would kill each other and become the laughingstock of the 3,000 Dao Realm. How could he have to conquer his whole life alone? When the outside world breaks out, he was bullied by all kinds of powerful forces. So, what exactly is going on in this life of rebirth? As he thought about it, Gu Qingqiu couldn't help but feel sad, and there was a faint mist in his beautiful eyes. Gu Changge had been paying attention to Gu Qingqiu, and when he saw the mist in Gu Changge's beautiful eyes, he was stunned. No, sister, why do you want to cry all of a sudden? Could it be that you were moved to tears? It shouldn't be. In the previous life, Supreme, wouldn't it be Supreme when he was reborn? So easily moved? What's wrong? Gu Changge stood up, walked up to Gu Qingqiu, stared into his eyes carefully, frowned and said, "But is there anything else that goes wrong?" Looking at Gu Changge standing in front of her, Gu Qingqiu could clearly smell the faint fragrance on his body. She trembled in her heart, lowered her head and whispered softly, "No, I just didn't expect divine child, brother. I was flattered that my brother would treat me so kindly. How could it be possible? You are pregnant with Supreme Bone, and you will definitely become the pillar of my Changsheng Gu family in the future. If it is not good for you, who will be good for you?" Gu Changge waved his hand and said amusedly, "I'm so flattered. If I give you a holy weapon or an imperial weapon in the future, I'm afraid you'll faint on the spot." Gu Qingqiu's fair and tender cheeks turned slightly red when he heard this. Holy weapon, imperial weapon. If the holy weapon alone appears without a master, any one of them will stir up bloodshed in the 3,000 realms, let alone the imperial weapon. It will be the basis for suppressing the immortal family and the immortal Holy Land. But judging from Gu Changge's tone, would he actually give it to himself in the future? Gu Qingqiu felt ridiculous. It shouldn't be possible. Even if one comes from an immortal family, holy weapons are still extremely precious. Okay, take it. Take these elixirs for polishing the foundation, and pick them up quickly. Maybe I can take you to this secret realm of the void to experience it." Gu Changge smiled and held up the colorful umbrella. He grabbed it and put it in Gu Qingqiu's arms. Looking down at the colorful umbrella in his arms, Gu Qingqiu's beautiful eyes flashed, and finally he nodded slightly. "Thank you, brother divine child." "Good." Gu Changge reached out and patted Gu Qingqiu on the head. "I will protect Sister Qingqiu from now on." The sudden contact caught people off guard. The love and affection they had never experienced in his previous life made Gu Qingqiu's heart beat violently and his mood became unstable. "No, we can't just sink. Maybe Gu Changge is just showing off. Need to confirm again." The shaking heart gradually calmed down as Gu Qingqiu became vigilant. Then she took a deep breath. Her face returned to calmness and she said, "Okay, thank you, brother divine child. I will accept these things." As Gu Qingqiu spoke, he raised his head slightly, his beautiful eyes reflecting Gu Changge's handsome and extraordinary face. "Since you gave yourself a gift, you should return it as soon as possible, in order to avoid changes in the future that will prevent you from being merciful. If I remember correctly, in the secret trial of the coming of age ceremony in the Void Secret Realm 1 month later, there will be a dragon elephant technique flowing out from the cracks in the void. In the previous life, it was obtained by a descendant of the branch of the Gu family of Changsheng. After practicing it, it caused a stir in the Zhongzhou Dao Realm. After a while, he was once considered to be on par with Gu Changge, who had taken his supreme bone at that time, which was probably not bad. When the time comes, let's take this dragon elephant skill as a gift in return. Gu Changge still didn't know what kind of identity he was in the eyes of this reborn supreme clan girl. He thought he was just like himself, respecting the old and loving the young, and being of the same clan. So when he saw Gu Qingqiu taking the colorful umbrella, a return reminder message popped up in front of him. The host gifts and binds the return target. Gu Qingqiu, a middle-grade exotic treasure, a colorful umbrella, triggers the return mechanism and detects that the host has one 10,000 times return card, 1,000 times return card, and 500 times return cards. Do you want to choose it? One of them will be returned at a fixed rate? Whether. Looking at the information in front of him, Gu Changge said without hesitation, "Use a 10,000-fold refund card to make the refund." Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully using the 10,000 times rebate card. The host gives the bound return target, Gu Changge. The middle-grade rare treasure colorful umbrella triggers a 10,000-fold return. Congratulations on getting the high-grade holy weapon, Starfall Bow. Starfall Bow, High-grade Saint Soldier, with the stars as the string and the constellations as the bow. One arrow penetrates the sea of stars and one arrow falls into the big star. A high-grade holy weapon was returned, and it's also a bow. Guchanga looked at the returned information in front of him, and his heart suddenly shook. His pupils dilated slightly, and a strong joy filled his heart. This wave, the middle-grade treasure, is exchanged for a high-grade holy weapon, and it is also an extremely rare high-grade holy bow. What the hell? So profitable. Chapter 11. Although he was pleasantly surprised in his heart, Guchanga still had a warm smile on his face, and handed Gu Qingqiu the elixir that was used to polish the foundation of low-level monks even more enthusiastically. Sister Qingqiu, there are still pills here. This meridians can protect your meridians and make them smoother. This is a pregnancy elixir, used in the pregnancy realm. This is a spirit-gathering pill, used in the liquid transformation realm. Besides, Guchanga enthusiastically handed a bunch of pills to Gu Qingqiu. When Gu Qingqiu came to his senses, he already had a pile of pills in his arms. Gu Qingqiu blinked, his beautiful eyes blank. What happened? Ever since Gu Qingqiu met Guchanga, he didn't know how many times this thought had appeared in his mind. There is really no way to compare the Guchanga in front of him with the selfish Guchanga in his previous memory. However, Guchanga frowned slightly, because since he gave Gu Qingqiu the pill just now, the Invincible return system has not triggered the return even once? What's going on? Thinking of this, Guchanga asked the system in his mind. What's going on with the system? Why don't you continue to return it? Ding. The bound target can only be returned once a day. All right. Hearing the system prompt, Guchanga understood clearly and was already prepared not to return it. If it was really possible to return it an unlimited number of times a day, wouldn't he be able to ask Gu Qing to bring the Longevity Gu family's information and brush it through directly, making him invincible on the spot, and the 3,000 realms would take off? It shouldn't be that outrageous, and the way Tongzi operates probably won't support it. After all, returning this thing should consume something. I just don't know what it is. If you bind a target once a day, you have to bind more than 100 million targets. Although this cannot be returned indefinitely, it is enough to return it a dozen times a day. Once a day is fine, but if it's every week, every month, every year, or every realm, it would be even more painful. Guchanga stopped as soon as he saw it was good. Okay, Sister Qingqiu, do you need anything else? If you have any, just tell me. Guchanga asked. No more. Gu Qingqiu came to his senses and shook his head, and respectfully thanked Gu Qingqiu. Thank you, divine child brother. The girl's voice is as beautiful as clear spring water. How does it feel to have a supreme girl from your previous life call her brother? Guchanga just wanted to say, my heart is cold and my heart is soaring. Well, by the way, do you have any skills? Although he already knew that Gu Qingqiu had the Void Sutra, Guchanga still wanted to ask. Yes, Gu Qingqiu said quietly. That? Guchanga was just about to have a good communication and establish a good relationship with this supreme girl, but at this time, a jade communication token flew out of the storage ring. Guchanga glanced at Gu Qingqiu, who stood up and wanted to leave, but he didn't mind and opened the communication in front of Gu Qingqiu. Changa, come to the family meeting hall. Gu Qing's voice came from the messaging jade tablet. The sound disappeared, and the jade metal slowly fell. Guchanga reached out to catch it, put the storage ring back in, then looked at Gu Qingqiu and said, Father is looking for me, then I will go to the meeting hall first. Gu Qingqiu nodded. After all, it was their first meeting. Guchanga could feel Gu Qingqiu's discomfort, so he stopped talking and nodded towards the meeting hall. After leaving the courtyard, he glanced at Gu Qingqiu, who was watching him leave with great interest. I don't know what impression I had on this supreme clan girl in my last life. She must be the same as me, respecting the old and loving the young. Let's love those of the same race. After Guchanga left, the yard was very quiet. Gu Qingqiu stared blankly at the colorful umbrella in his hand and the bottles and jars in his arms, sighed and sat down at the jade table aside. Guchanga actually took the initiative to protect me? He gave me treasures and elixirs? Not only that, his attitude was like treating his own sister. No, it was very strange that Guchanga didn't dig my supreme bone from the beginning. So, are you planning something more terrifying? Guchanga, I don't believe you have really become a good person. Gu Qingqiu murmured. A terrifying power appeared in his beautiful eyes, as if it were crushing the heavens. The images of what happened in her previous life were so unforgettable that she could never forget them for the rest of her life. Guchanga didn't know what he was doing, so he directly messed up the supreme girl. I went to the assembly hall twice in just 2 days. This is not a good thing. Logically speaking, after becoming the first sequence, you should quickly improve your cultivation and consolidate your Dao foundation in order to win the Divine Child competition and truly overwhelm your peers. Normally, when there is nothing major, it usually doesn't bother him. By checking Gu Qingqiu's recent fortune, Gu Changge actually had a vague guess in his mind that it should be about the coming-of-age ceremony. Changsheng Gu family's coming-of-age ceremony is not simple. We can also learn something about Gu Qingqiu's recent fortune. Based on his memory, Gu Changge also guessed that the coming-of-age ceremony trial would be held in the next few months. Family Meeting Hall. This is the real meeting hall of the Immortal Gu family. Not only Gu Qing, the head of the Immortal Gu family, is here, but representatives of other branches and elders will also gather together to discuss important matters. This is different from the meeting hall where Gu Qing and other main lineage clansmen always asked Gu Changge to go. The long-song Divine Child has arrived. The clear voice of the attendant outside the door resounded throughout the meeting hall. Gu Qing, who was sipping tea and waiting, and the old representatives of the major branch clans all looked towards the door of the meeting hall. I saw a tall figure walking in. Function's handsome face was quite childish. He looked young, and he was wearing a slim and tall black noble gown. What's even more commendable is that although he is young, he has already begun to have an air of extraordinary magnanimity and nobility, and the brilliance outside the door makes him look divine. The clan elders looked at Gu Changge's appearance and sighed in their hearts. As expected of the Divine Child appointed by our ancestors. The weather alone is extraordinary. I've met the head of the clan elders. Gu Changge greeted Gu Qing and the clan elders around him. Changge is coming. Come, sit down. Gu Qing smiled kindly upon hearing this and indicated his seat in the first row on the lower left. The first seat is empty. Behind this seat, there are also 9 seats. These 9 seats are already full. As for the people on the seats, after seeing Gu Changge, several of them showed terrifying fighting spirit, which made the void rumble. Some people's beautiful eyes appeared, and their eyes fell directly on him. Chapter 12. Except for the first seat. The 9 seats at the back are naturally the 9 sequences of the Changsheng Gu family. Seat ranking also represents the sequence order. Gu Changge should be the first seat, and he is also the Divine Child. However, Gu Changge was not in a hurry to take a seat, but smiled at the other 9 people. I've met you all. Meet the Divine Child. Among the 9 sequences, 2 stunningly beautiful women were the first to answer Gu Changge. Their beautiful eyes were as bright as autumn waves. Their smiles were very moving, and their figures were also graceful and graceful. 7 sequences remain. Seeing Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao had already answered Gu Changge. Her strong fighting spirit dissipated, and she also spoke to Gu Changge. Meet the Divine Child. Some people are willing, and naturally some people are unwilling. But Gu Changge didn't care. He said hello and sat down on the chair. Gu Ziyu looked at Gu Changge, who was sitting down, and couldn't help but whisper to Gu Xiaoxiao beside her. Sister Xiaoxiao, do you feel that Changge's Divine Child is a little different from before? Did you notice it too? Huh. I feel more approachable than before, right? Gu Xiaoxiao asked. I think so too. Gu Ziyu nodded in agreement, her beautiful eyes gleaming. And she's even better looking and more attractive than before. Hee. Why don't you ask the head of the family to match you up with the Divine Child? Sister Xiaoxiao begs for a beating. No one paid attention to her daughter's whispers. Gu Qing coughed lightly before the 2 girls stopped. Others seemed not to be surprised. After Gu Qing coughed lightly, he looked at the people below with a smile on his face and said with a smile, Today you are all gathered in the Gu family meeting hall. Representatives of the clan elders from each major branch, the Divine Child of the Gu family, and all 9 major sequences are present. I believe some people are already here. You guessed it, it's to discuss my Changsheng Gu family's coming-of-age ceremony in 1 month. Follow the usual practice. The coming-of-age ceremony will involve entering the Void Secret Realm to experience, and rewards will be assessed based on scores. However, this time there have been changes within the Void Secret Realm, which has resulted in a significant increase in the strength of the ferocious beasts and ghosts inside. So instead the Divine Child, the 9 major sequences, will lead the team to jointly hunt and rank them. The points ranking is divided into team ranking and personal points ranking. The kill scores are the same as before. Open Pulse Realm Evil Beasts and Ghosts. 1 point, Pregnant Spirit. 3 points, Transformation Liquid. 5 points, Hong Qiao. 10 points, Life Wheel. 100 points, Spirit Ascension. 300 points, As for why there is no enlightenment realm or immortal transformation realm above spirit ascension, it is naturally given to the senior officials of the Changsheng family. If there are enlightened beasts or enlightened ghosts in the secret realm of the void, there is such a clear danger, and the Changsheng family will be sick if they ignore it. No matter how talented the genius is, they are still only 16 and have just grown up. No matter how strong your cultivation is, it is impossible to defeat the Tao enlightenment state at this age. Guqing finished speaking in one breath, then looked around and smiled. Do you have anything else to add or want to say? A clan elder said, Master, is it inappropriate for the clan members to freely choose Divine Child or the 9 major sequences? After all, it is very likely that everyone will choose Divine Child or the higher sequence, which is unfair to other sequences. Hearing this, other clan elders nodded. After all, the children of the Gu family are both strong and weak, and some are even only half as weak as the others. If these people get together, they will be more powerful than the sequence. All join one side. That scene was not one-sided. Guqing nodded thoughtfully upon hearing this. Indeed, he had not considered this. If you really could choose freely, I'm afraid they would all choose Guchanga, right? This is not okay. A clan elder stood up and said with a smile, Clan leader, I have an idea. I will issue number plates to the children of the clan and bind them with their aura. We will randomly draw them and let them join whichever team is drawn. Hey, what a great idea. Guqing and other clan elders' eyes lit up. This is indeed very random. Moreover, the number plate is bound to the breath, so it cannot be faked when exchanging number plates, and it can also be used directly as a score recorder. This works. Okay, let's do it. Guqing agreed directly without hesitation. After that, he looked at Guchanga and the other 9 sequences. What do you think? It all depends on the arrangement of the head of the family. Guchanga nodded. Hearing this, the other 9 major sequences also said, It all depends on the arrangement of the family head. After it was agreed to complete the human ceremony trial and the news spread, the entire Changsheng family was in a state of excitement. Everyone never expected that this coming-of-age ceremony trial could be on the same team as the sequence, and 2 ranking methods were adopted. One was team ranking and the other was individual ranking. The former pays more attention to teamwork, and personal ability is also very important. The latter is purely personal ability. This one is the same as always. The most important thing is that I can be on the same team as Sequence and Divine Child, which gives me a full sense of participation. I want to be on the same team as Divine Child. If I can be on the same team as Divine Child, I will definitely have peace of mind. Divine Child has broken through the life wheel realm. The other 9 major sequences are only at the peak of Hongqiao. They are completely incomparable. That's right, as long as you join Divine Child, you will be number 1. Why is it chosen randomly? There is no possibility of secret operation. Some people mourned, some looked forward to it, and some rejoiced. Well, Guchanga didn't care much about the specifics, because his only opponent in his eyes was himself and the opportunity mentioned in Gu Qingqiu's fortune from the Void Secret Realm. Ever since he awakened the Immortal Bone and raised the 9-line life wheel, Guchanga's goal was no longer within the Changsheng family, but outside in the Zhongzhou Dao Domain. While there's still a month left, Guchanga plans to continue practicing hard and strive to expand the spiritual sea of Dantian in his body to 2,000 feet and break through to the 2nd level of the life wheel. The difference between the 1st and 2nd levels is already very obvious when the Linghai doubles in size. At the same time, he should also take advantage of this opportunity to improve himself in all aspects. In terms of divine ability, offensive divine ability, defensive divine ability, and movement divine ability, etc., all need to be updated and adapted to the increase after breaking through the life wheel realm. The breakthroughs in these 2 days are not only consolidated. There is absolutely no time to practice. With this in mind, Guchanga had already returned to his mansion. As soon as he arrived at the small courtyard, he saw a young girl sitting in the courtyard who looked young but extraordinary, with a temperament like a green lotus. Huh, you're still here, Sister Qingqiu. Guchanga looked at Gu Qingqiu in surprise. You just gave the other party a handful of resources. Shouldn't you go back and improve your cultivation? After all, judging from the opponent's improvement to the 9th level of the Pulse opening realm overnight, this is definitely not the opponent's limit, right? I have something for Divine Child, brother. Although he had called him brother several times, Gu Qingqiu still felt very awkward. So every time I call my brother, I get stuck. What? Guchanga was confused. Give. Gu Qingqiu did not speak, but handed Guchanga a jade talisman, which exuded an extremely rich Taoist charm. Chapter 13. Are you waiting for me here just to give me this thing? Gu Qingqiu nodded, then seemed to remember something and continued. I brought this jade from the branch. I don't know what it is, but I feel that this jade should be very extraordinary. Brother Divine Child gave me so much, just think of it as my return gift. Gu Changge was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Gu Qingqiu would seriously prepare a return gift for him. And, after careful sensing, he found that Gu Qingqiu's soul seemed a little weak. The things given by Supreme should be extraordinary. Gu Changge thought about it and took the jade pendant from Gu Qingqiu without being polite. Okay, thank you, Sister Qingqiu. By the way, the adult ceremony trial will begin next month. Sister Qingqiu will try to improve her strength this month. You can get a lot of resources by entering the top 100 in the personal standings, and I will help you. Gu Changge gave a vague reminder. Bring it. Of course, that would be to leave a few fast beasts and ghosts for Gu Qingqiu to finish off. Gu Qingqiu. She blinked her beautiful eyes, never expecting that Gu Changge was planning to open the back door for herself at that time. However, she nodded and left quickly. After watching Gu Qingqiu leave, Gu Changge checked the jade pendant in his hand. Only a fool would believe what Gu Qingqiu said just now. It seemed that Gu Qingqiu had given it to him on purpose. It seemed that he was not prepared to owe himself a favor. But Sister Qingqiu, you are bound by my return system. If you still want to run away, that is impossible. From now on, you can only be my friend, Gu Changge, haha. There is nothing wrong with taking care of Qingqiu's argument. After all, she has never practiced before, so she naturally doesn't know the value of this jade pendant. It seems that she is giving the most valuable thing on her body to Gu Changge, so there is nothing wrong with it. Gu Changge thought, and his spiritual consciousness began to probe into the jade pendant in his hand to check. Boom, a torrent of information appeared in Gu Changge's mind, and then turned into a line of big characters. Void Gang Qi. Countless mysteries were flowing in his mind, and at this time, Gu Changge also understood what the divine ability, Void Qi, was. This is actually a Saint-grade defensive divine ability created based on the Void Sutra. Void Gang Qi is just like its name. It condenses Gang Qi in the void, swallows Gang Qi, and stores it in the body. When attacked, it can automatically appear and protect the owner, and also has a certain anti-injury effect. This is very incredible. After all, the ability to automatically protect the Lord is extremely valuable regardless of any defensive divine ability, let alone Saint-grade. If he hadn't known that the Void Sutra only had 2 Emperor grades with divine ability and 1 Saint grade with divine ability, he would have thought that this Void Gang Qi was the 4th Saint grade with divine ability. The Void Sutra records 3 gates of divine ability. All 3 gates are terrifying attacks. Divine ability. Saint grade attacks divine ability. Sky-cutting finger. Emperor grade attacks divine ability. Void Grand Mudra. Great Void Technique. But now it's time to add one more door. Saint grade defense divine ability. Void Qi. Interesting. This should be the divine ability created by Gu Qingqiu before his rebirth. Not only is the profit earned by returning the money huge, but Gu Qingqiu himself is also a huge treasure. The void energy complements my defensive shortcomings. Next, if I look for a divine ability, I will become a hexagonal warrior. Gu Changge was in a very good mood. After getting the Void Qi, Gu Changge returned to the room. When he was about to comprehend and practice, he suddenly thought of a method. That is, this Void Qi was given to him by Gu Qingqiu, and it was not something belonging to the system. So if he returned it to Gu Qingqiu, would that trigger the return? If the return can be triggered, then the divine ability of the Void Qi in his hand will take off again. No hurry, no rush. The number of returns for today has been used up. Please wait until the next day. Hiss. I've never looked forward to the next day so much. As Gu Changge spoke, he stopped thinking about cultivating the void energy, and instead concentrated on spiritual power to increase his cultivation. The night passed in the blink of an eye. The next day comes. Gu Changge had already come to look for Gu Qingqiu with the jade pendant that recorded Void Gang Qi yesterday. The maid standing at the door was frightened when she saw Gu Changge coming, and she immediately became energetic from her drowsiness. I've seen the divine child. 2 maids at the door said respectfully. I want to see Qingqiu. Gu Changge nodded and said calmly. Okay, divine child. We will notify Miss Qingqiu immediately. A maid nodded and immediately lowered her head and walked into the courtyard. Another maid was fidgeting, rubbing her gauze skirt with her little hands. From time to time, she quietly raised her face to look at Gu Changge, and then immediately looked away shyly. Gu Changge glanced at it without paying attention. There are so many people looking at him like this, and there are also some cousins in the clan, so he is used to it. After a few breaths, the maid came back. Divine child. Miss Qingqiu is already waiting for you in the courtyard, the maid said respectfully. Good. Gu Changge nodded and stepped into the small courtyard. As soon as I stepped into the small courtyard, a voice of joy came from behind. Yeah, that's Lord Divine Child. My God, he's so handsome. Me too. I blushed at the first sight and my heart skipped a beat. I don't know how happy I would be if I could become a divine child woman. Hearing the voice behind him, Gu Changge's heart was as calm as water, and he looked towards Gu Qingqiu sitting in the courtyard. Gu Qingqiu quickly stood up and greeted. Brother Divine Child, morning. Good morning, you don't have to be so restrained. Didn't you say it before? Sit down. Gu Changge smiled and sat on the other side of the stone table. Gu Qingqiu nodded and sat down, looked at Gu Changge curiously and asked, I wonder why Brother Divine Child came to see me so early? This is it. Gu Changge raised the Void Gang Qi jade pendant in his hand to indicate. What's wrong with this? Gu Qingqiu's heart skipped a beat, thinking that Gu Changge was coming to ask her about the origin of the jade pendant, but she had already prepared it last night. Sister Qingqiu, this jade pendant you gave me is so precious. Did you know that there is something recorded in it? And the record is an extremely extraordinary thing. Have no idea. Gu Qingqiu pretended not to know and shook his head. I used to just see this jade pendant flashing occasionally and it felt good, so I wore it with me edition. You keep making it up. Gu Changge also nodded in agreement. Is that so? Then let me tell Sister Qingqiu the value of your jade pendant. It contains a Saint-grade defensive divine ability that can automatically protect the Lord. Saint-grade. And its defense against divine ability. Automatically protect the Lord. You know it's precious, right? Chapter 14. When Gu Qingqiu heard this, a look of shock appeared on his face. Of course this is fake. After all, she burned it into it. How could she not know? This is just for show. Gu Changge couldn't help but feel funny when he saw the shock on Gu Qingqiu's face. Good guy. Was Supreme also an actor in his previous life? But it makes sense to think about it. Although she was an empress in her previous life, she is now only a monk at the 9th level of the Pulse opening realm, and her position in the Changsheng family was given by herself. It is precisely for this reason that it is an opportunity to cultivate your own favorability. Licking a dog is not a problem, but if the binding and return system can bind Gu Qingqiu, you know that Gu Qingqiu's character is definitely good, and he at least repays his kindness. For example, the Void Gang Qi in your hand. I just paid for a rare treasure weapon and some elixirs, and in the end I got a Saint-grade automatic master defense divine ability. This benefit is probably as good as the Invincible return system, S 10,000 times return. Take this, I've learned it. Gu Changge didn't pay attention to the shocked look on Gu Qingqiu's face, and handed the Void Gang Qi in his hand to Gu Qingqiu. These words made Gu Qingqiu stand up in shock. She looked at Gu Changge in surprise and said, What, God, Brother Divine Child? Have you learned this Saint-grade divine ability? Gu Changge nodded. Gu Qingqiu murmured, How is it possible? Even if you are a saint, it takes a lot of time to get started with Saint-grade divine ability. However, he was able to get started in just one night. Is this level of talent related to the second talent? What's wrong? Sister Qingqiu. Gu Changge looked at Gu Qingqiu with a smile. Gu Qingqiu immediately noticed that he was abnormal, quickly adjusted his mentality, and congratulated Gu Changge. Congratulations to Brother Divine Child for gaining another powerful divine ability. This is all thanks to you. Take it, and you can practice in the future. Okay. Gu Qingqiu did not refuse. After all, she knew how to use Void Gang Qi, so she would use this as a shield when she used it in the future. Ding! The host gives a bound return target. Gu Qingqiu's Saint-grade defense divine ability Void Qi. Do you want to use the return multiplier card? Whether. Seeing this, Gu Changge was overjoyed. Sure enough, it was possible, and then he said directly in his heart, Yes, use the 1,000 times rebate card. The host uses the 1,000-fold return card successfully. Fixed return rate of 1,000 times, host Saint-grade defense divine ability, Void Gangqi, get 1,000 times return Emperor-grade defense divine ability, innate Taishu Gangqi. Along with the system prompt, a billowing sea of chaotic energy suddenly appeared in Gu Changge's mind. A touch of innate Taishu Gang energy cut through the chaos, like the blessing of the great Tao, instantly exploding in Gu Changge's mind. Countless mysteries came to mind. Gu Changge's heart moved, and he opened his information interface. Roll. Gu Changge Strength. Life will level 1, 5%. Constitution. Dual Pupils, Immortal Bones Kung Fu. Void Sutra, 5th level 1%. Divine Ability. Heaven Cutting Finger, Basic Accomplishment 30%. Void Mahamudra, basic accomplishment 30%, Great Void Technique, 1% entry level. Innate Taishu Gongqi, not yet entry level. Binding object, Gu Qingqiu. This information interface was discovered by Gu Changge when he was thinking about it before, and it clearly displays its own information. Gu Changge feels that even if there is no return function, with this panel, he will be able to have a smooth journey on the road to spiritual practice in the future. After all, this is a panel that shows progress. You can clearly see your progress. I'm not afraid of not making progress, but I'm afraid of not knowing whether my practice is effective. As for the information in the Divine Ability column, he is the first in the Changsheng Gu family. The various divine abilities he has learned are naturally the divine abilities directly transmitted from the Void Sutra. After all, these divine abilities alone can make him run rampant if he is successful in cultivation. 3,000 Realms. The last, Innate Taishu Gongqi, is the Emperor-grade divine ability that was returned 1,000 times just now. After receiving another Emperor-grade divine ability, Gu Changge was in a wonderful mood, and his expression became softer when he looked at Gu Qingqiu. This reborn supreme was simply his big treasure. After returning the divine ability of void energy to Gu Qingqiu, Gu Changge said goodbye to Gu Qingqiu, asking him to come to him if he needed anything, and then return to his yard. Sit cross-legged on the bed. Gu Changge felt the wonder of innate Taishu Gongqi in his mind, and nodded slightly. It is indeed the Emperor Grade's defensive divine ability. It is different from the Void Gongqi directly condensed from the void, but requires the 5 elements of heaven, materials, and earthly treasures to condense a wisp of the original innate ability. Taishu Gongqi can only be condensed from the void to innate Taishu Gongqi. It will continue to strengthen its origin, and its defense power is extremely terrifying. Under the same situation, I am afraid that it will not be able to break through the defense within the 3rd and 4th floors and may be seriously injured by the counterattack force, even if it's even more powerful and extremely difficult to penetrate. As expected of the great Emperor-level divine ability, even after the great accomplishment, I can still use innate Taishu Gongqi to kill enemies, which is no weaker than an Emperor-grade attacking divine ability. Gu Changge exhaled softly, his eyes filled with energy. As for the 5 elements, heavenly materials, and earthly treasures that condense innate's Taishu Gongqi, as the divine child of the Immortal Gu family, he naturally doesn't have to look for such things by himself. He only needs to tell his father, and someone will bring them to him. Taking out Gu Qing's jade token of communication, Gu Changge stopped after telling Gu Qing his request. After obtaining the 5 elements, heavenly materials, and earthly treasures, it is best to condense a wisp of the original innate Taishu Gongqi before the coming-of-age ceremony trial to enhance one's invincibility, although it may not necessarily lead to fatal danger. However, judging from Gu Qingqiu's recent fortune, I am afraid that changes in the Void Secret Realm are certain. By the way, there are 500-fold return cards. I will return it once a day. In 5 days, I will give you some elixirs. If I return 100 times, I don't know what good things I can give back to me. It would be better to have elixirs that have no side effects and can quickly increase my strength. In the afternoon, Gu Changge got the 5 elements, heavenly materials, and earthly treasures from Gu Qing that condensed innate Taishu Gongqi. They are Golden Spirit Sand, Wood Spirit Holy Fruit, Water Spirit Pearl, Fire Cloud Essence, and Earth Spirit Chalcedony. Each of them is a rare treasure that is hard to buy in the outside world. Now Gu Changge just spoke, and the Changsheng Gu family sent it directly without any further questions. This is the terrifying background of the Changsheng family. Golden Spirit Sand is a mineral that contains the ultimate gold spiritual power. It is as bright as gold and extremely hard. It can absorb the gold spiritual energy between heaven and earth on its own. It is an excellent material for refining top gold magic weapons and weapons. Weapons made from Golden Spirit Sand are extremely sharp and indestructible. The Holy Spirit fruit grows on the top of a 1,000-year-old tree, absorbing the essence of the sun and moon and the aura of heaven and earth. The fruit is as green as jade in appearance and contains rich wood vitality. The water spirit pearl is condensed from the essence of thousands of years of ice and pure sea water. Each one is extraordinary. Chapter 15. Say it. Gu Changge has followed the method of condensing innate Taishu Gongqi in his mind, and began to breathe the chaotic aura, wrapping the 5 elements of heaven, materials, and earth treasures in front of him. Buzz, a ray of chaotic light flashed away. Gu Changge opened his mouth and swallowed, and all 5 kinds of 5 elements, heavenly materials, and earthly treasures entered his stomach. Suddenly, the terrifying power of the 5 elements surged in the dantian, causing ripples in the 1,000-foot spiritual sea. However, The 9 marks life wheel was shaken. These violent and majestic 5 elements spiritual qi were forcibly suppressed. Under the control of Guchanga, these 5 elements spiritual energy began to operate according to the innate Taishu Gongqi method. It was very awkward at first, and these 5 elements spiritual energy did not move at all. But under Guchanga's powerful soul power, these 5 elements of spiritual energy gradually formed a huge, colorful vortex in his dantian, and there seemed to be a wisp of gas brewing in the center of the vortex. Rumble, the 1,000-foot spiritual sea in dantian, stirred up a majestic wave. The 9-line life wheel was trembling continuously at this moment, as if it was about to fall in the next second. Guchanga knew that although the Dao Pill field vision looked very dangerous, his Dao foundation was strong and his cultivation was perfect, so it was impossible to shake the foundation. Therefore, this was just the news that the innate Taishu Gangqi was about to take shape. Condensation. Along with this, Guchanga shouted coldly in his heart. Buzz, a wisp of hazy gas condensed from the 5-color vortex. Guchanga looked inside and saw this hazy gas in his dantian. Then he exhaled and opened his eyes with a smile. It seems that this is the origin of innate's Taishu Gangqi, Guchanga said, with a thought. The original innate Taishu Gangqi immediately turned into a circular barrier to wrap him tightly. With a thought again, it was partially strengthened. With a thought again, he could transform as he pleased. However, this source of innate Taishu Gangqi cannot be used unless there is no alternative. Once it is consumed, the original innate Taishu Gangqi must be condensed again. The divine ability of innate Taishu Gangqi has a total of 4 levels. Gather gas to form, condense gas to form gang, refine gang to form. Gang body primordial origin corresponds to beginner, master, basic accomplishment, great accomplishment. The defense power of each stage is naturally different. For example, Guchanga is now in the entry stage of innate Taishu Gangqi. He has collected the qi to take shape and has the weakest defense. Of course, that corresponds to the innate Taishu Gangqi realm. But for normal battles, taking the shape of qi in Guchanga's background, it is not a problem to resist the 3rd level of Fate Wheel realm, or the 4th level attack. Getting started. It also automatically protects the master. Although it is not as strong as its own defense, it can save lives at critical moments. Say it. Only then did Guchanga realize that the light at noon had turned into night. It looks like it's the next day. Let's go find Gu Qingqiu tomorrow morning. Guchanga continued to enter the cultivation state. In this world, talent is important. But there is a saying that goes well, hard work can make up for weakness. Anyone who wants to succeed cannot do without hard work. Of course, Guchanga would not think that he had become a divine child. He had condensed the 9-line life wheel and would slack off in practice after breaking through the life wheel realm. On the contrary, he will try harder, because his goal is not just Emperor Realm, but eternal life. The Emperor Realm only has a lifespan of tens of thousands of years. Only immortal gods can overlook the world of mortals. The physical strength increased by 100,000 kilograms overnight, and the spiritual sea was about to withstand 1,100 feet. This made Guchanga speechless. Good guy. According to my own cultivation speed, wouldn't it only take 20 days to break through from the 1st level to the 2nd level of the life wheel? After all, it takes 2 days to increase 100 feet, and 1,000 feet is naturally 20 days. And he still practices normally, without taking pills, and his foundation is pragmatic. My own talent is really abnormal. Guchanga thought about it, and had already gone out to visit Gu Qingqiu. After Guchanga left, Gu Qingqiu looked at Guchanga's leaving figure and the bottles of elixirs in his hands with complicated eyes. So, does this guy really just want to be good to himself? After all, it is rumored that Guchanga is arrogant, selfish, and only cares about his own practice. He is always honest about everything. It was fine for 2 days, but is it still the same on the 3rd day? What else do you have besides Supreme Bone? Looks like it's gone, right? If he wanted Supreme Bone, why would he refuse it that day? Well, Gu Qingqiu sighed, and her young face showed worries that were different for her age. She really couldn't figure out what Guchanga was going to do. Guchanga didn't know that Gu Qingqiu was worried, because now he was happy. Ding, the host uses a fixed multiplier of 100 times the return card, and the gift return is bound to the target. Guchanga, a bottle of pregnancy elixir, and the 100 times return will get a bottle of Great Dao elixir. After giving Guchanga a bunch of bottles and cans just now, Guchanga returned the favor 100 times and got a bottle of Great Dao Pill. Great Dao Dan. Guchanga was once the first in line of the Gu family, and now the divine child. He naturally knows what the Great Dao Pill is. This is a supreme elixir that can nourish the body and enhance talents. There are even legends that some people took the Great Dao Elixir and awakened a powerful physique. Of course, this is not important. The important thing is that the Great Dao Pill can help Guchanga breathe the immortal bone in his chest, allowing the divine ability of the immortal bone to form faster, and of course it can also assist the supreme bone. But now he can't use it at will. Of course, Guchanga can't give this kind of thing to Gu Qingqiu. It would be nice if he could return it, but the system stipulates that you can't use the system stuff to nest dolls, and you can't give it back as an egg. Remove rewards from system space. A porcelain vase appeared in Guchang's singer, and a Great Dao Pill was poured out from it. Immediately, a strong Taoist charm appeared, making the elixir in his hand shine faintly, and it looked extremely spiritual, as if it was about to develop spiritual wisdom and escape in the next second. Seeing the Great Dao Pill for sale, Guchanga's eyes lit up. Is this the Great Dao Pill? If you return the pregnancy pill 100 times, you can get the Great Dao Pill. I have 4 more times, and I can get 4 more bottles. For the bottle should help me give birth to Immortal Law, said. Guchanga looked at the Great Dao Pill in his hand. Try this Great Dao Pill first. Guchanga opened his mouth and swallowed the Great Dao Pill. Great Dao Dan entrance plan, and also has a hint of sweet flavor. Buzz, the moment he swallowed the Great Dao Pill, Guchanga felt his head go empty. Suddenly, a breath of fresh air rushed to the Divine Soul Dao Palace, and a suction force suddenly came from the immortal bones in his chest that had been silent since his awakening. Immediately afterwards, the clear air in Guchanga's head dissipated instantly, allowing him to regain consciousness in an instant. He knew that this was the immortal bone swallowing up the Taoist charm contained in the Great Dao Pill, and he immediately sensed the immortal bone. But a Great Dao Pill could not change the immortal bones, and he did not feel the transformation of the immortal bones. Supreme Bone probably can't make a difference with just one Great Dao Pill, right? That's even more impossible with immortal bones. Keep swallowing. Guchanga's eyes narrowed, and he continued to swallow the Great Dao Pill to pregnant immortal bone. Chapter 16. Next 4 days. When Gu Qingqiu was thinking wildly and feeling complicated, Guchanga would visit Gu Qingqiu on time every day, and in addition to giving him elixirs, magic weapons, and spiritual stones, he would also ask his maid to bring some precious cakes with him. Well, Gu Qingqiu could actually give orders himself, but she didn't do this. After all, she was left by Guchanga now, and she was under the protection of others. Naturally, she would not really think that it was because of her own ability that she was treated in her current status. Therefore, Gu Qingqiu had never asked the Changsheng family for anything except daily food, clothing, and hard work and cultivation. But even so, just 3 days, she has been promoted from the 9th level of opening meridians to the 1st level of pregnant spirit realm. She is pregnant with spiritual light in her body. When the spiritual light is full, she can receive the spiritual energy and turn it into liquid, thus breaking through the realm of liquid formation. Guchanga is no longer in the 1st sequence mansion at this time. As for why there is no Divine Child Mansion, it is because the Immortal Gu family of the Divine Child Mansion ordered someone to build it. It is estimated that it will only be 1 month after the adult ceremony trial. The Divine Child Mansion of the Immortal family is naturally extraordinary. It requires an unknown amount of heavenly materials, earthly treasures, divine gold, and spiritual wood to create, as well as various exotic treasures, spiritual vein shaping, etc. All in all, it is very troublesome, but it also represents status and respect. Guchanga is now sitting cross-legged in a secret room. This is the palace of the head of the Guqing family. This secret room is also the place where Guqing practices. The underground spiritual veins are of a very high grade, and the spiritual energy is continuously captured and gathered by the spiritual gathering array in the secret room. In just a few moments, the spiritual energy it has condensed into fog. Guchanga took a deep breath, enjoying the comfort brought by the rich spiritual energy around him, and then asked the system what he was thinking. System, the number of returns per day, can it be stacked if not used? Ding. If the host does not use the number of returns that day, the multiplier will be increased. The longer the target is bound and does not return, the higher the chance of triggering a high magnification return when the next return is made. Is that so? Guchanga nodded. Although the number of returns cannot be superimposed, the rule that the longer the return is not, the higher the multiplier probability is still very good. This inquiry is also for future arrangements. After all, it's impossible to carry it around with you every day for gifting and returning. It's a pity to waste it, and it can't be superimposed. So this kind of precipitation rule is the best. Don't worry, The next step is to practice with all your strength. I will definitely be able to reach the second level of the life wheel in a month. At the same time, 4 bottles of Great Dao pills will hopefully give birth to a ray of power from my immortal bones. Guchanga took a deep breath and began to practice swallowing pills. One day, Guchanga swallowed a bottle of Great Dao pill and felt that his soul had reached its limit, so he began to practice the Void Sutra. The halo of the immortal bone is brighter, and the spiritual sea in the Dantian expands 50 feet. 2 days. The halo of the immortal bone is 3 points brighter, and the spiritual sea in the Dantian expands 60 feet. 3 days. The 4th day. The terrifying fairy light rippled in the secret room, and the fairy bones on Guchanga's chest seemed to manifest into a terrifying figure sitting cross-legged. There were phantoms of gods and gods kneeling around him, and the great Tao surrendered, and the sound of the Tao continued. Then came day after day, and more than 20 days passed in the blink of an eye. This day is finally approaching the coming-of-age ceremony. In the secret room of the Guqing family head's mansion, Guchanga slowly opened his eyes, and a vast and ethereal light flashed from his dark eyes, and then returned to calm. At this time, Guchanga's aura had strengthened more than 10 times compared to a month ago. A smile appeared at the corner of Guchanga's mouth, feeling the spiritual sea rippling in his body, and he was very happy. The second level of the life wheel, and the spiritual sea expanded to 2,200 feet, completely consolidating the cultivation base, and more than that, Guchanga said, under the gown on his body, the dense fairy light was faintly emitted through the precious fabric. There seemed to be a figure sitting cross-legged in the depth of the fairy light, and a faint breath of horror flashed over the figure. This is what happened to Guchanga's immortal bones after he took 4 bottles of Great Dao pill. Originally, there was only immortal light brewing in the immortal bones, and there was nothing else. But as Guchanga continued to swallow the Great Dao pill, a silhouette of a human figure gradually appeared in the immortal light. After swallowing 4 bottles of Great Dao pills, the figure was completely manifested, and the immortal law of the figure conceived by the immortal bones also appeared in his mind. The Immortal King comes to the 9 heavens. After activation, you can summon the phantom blessing of the Immortal King, and every move contains supreme power. However, because only a trace of immortal bone is activated to accompany the immortal law, this Immortal King will most likely only be able to fight across 4 or 5 small levels. However, after the level of the same realm is high, he can fight across borders. In general, it is an all-around increase in immortal law. Guchanga's eyes were burning. I am very satisfied with the immortal law of Immortal King Lin Jiutian. This means that his combat power has been greatly increased. If the Immortal King comes to Jiutian to cooperate with the dual pupils to kill, he can definitely fight across the border. The cross-border that Guchanga talks about is not the realm of ordinary people's cultivation, but the genius of the same level, the holy son of the same power, Tao Child, Divine Child, etc. The weaker ones can be directly killed. Sit up and sit cross-legged. Guchanga straightened the gown on his body, exhaled, and his eyes were bright. It's been a month. It's time to go to Guqingqiu to return it. I don't know how many times the return can be triggered after settling for so long. Is it better to give it to Zhongling? Pill, wait, the pregnancy elixir may not be enough in 1 month. She might have broken through the liquid. Guchanga clearly saw how powerful the reborn Empress Supreme was. It takes 1 day to open the 9th layer and 3 days to break into the pregnant spirit realm. It takes 1 month to cultivate into the liquid realm. As a reborn female supreme, isn't it strange? But if it were placed on other people, they would probably think that they were even more evil than Guchanga. Just walked out of the secret room. A middle-aged man with the same elegant and mature face appeared in front of Guchanga. Guqing looked at Guchanga who came out. His eyes narrowed slightly, and the smile on his face became stronger. The second level of the life wheel. It breaks through the first level in 1 month. Teske. And the level of pregnancy of the fairy bone seems to be progressing extraordinary. Guchanga's skin was like jade at this time, and his whole body exuded a faint fairy light, just like the sun of the great Tao. This appearance is a manifestation of the initial awakening of the immortal bones. Originally, Guchanga possessed dual pupils and was born a divine transcendent. Now, with the blessings of the immortal bones, he has emerged from the world. Even Guqing had to admit the charm of his whole person. Even if his son didn't rely on his cultivation for a living, he could rest easy on his reputation. Having said that, but in this world, strength is the most important thing. Well, dual pupils plus immortal bones. It would be the weirdest thing if the breakthrough is slow. Gu Changge smiled and then said, Father, I will go back to the sequence mansion to see Sister Qingqiu. I don't know how she is doing in a month. Okay, go ahead, but remember to take part in the coming-of-age ceremony trial tomorrow. Good. Gu Changge waved his hand and walked towards his residence. Chapter 17. The side courtyard of Sequence Mansion. On the bed, a woman with extremely beautiful appearance was sitting cross-legged on it, exuding an aura that made all people surrender. This aura is like the supreme, causing all races to kneel down and worship. Gu Qingqiu slowly opened his eyes, and a ray of golden light flashed from his eyes. 1 month, 6 levels of liquid. It's not bad. Tomorrow is the adult ceremony trial in the Void Secret Realm. My cultivation level can barely intervene the opportunity of Dragon Elephant skill. After Gu Qingqiu said that, he looked at the head of the family's palace again. In 1 month, I don't know if Gu Changge has broken through to the second level of the life wheel, but there is no difference between the first and the second level. He entered the life wheel alone and has temporarily formed a gap. In his previous life, Gu Changge broke through the wheel of life, seemingly 1 month after the coming-of-age ceremony trial. What a big change. Not only that, Gu Changge also awakened his second talent, and this second talent is also related to immortality. As Gu Qingqiu spoke, he suddenly seemed to sense something. The liquid aura around his body gradually disappeared, and instead it became the 5th level of the pregnant spirit realm. A month ago, Gu Qingqiu broke through the pregnant spirit from the 1st level of pregnant spirit in 3 days. Now he has revealed the strength of the 5th level of pregnant spirit from the 1st level of pregnant spirit. Breaking through the 4th level in 1 month is extremely unbelievable. But Gu Qingqiu's true strength is at the 6th level of liquid realm. The rebirth of Supreme is no joke. After doing all this, Gu Qingqiu stood up and walked out of the room. A young man with an immature appearance, but who had already begun to show his appearance, was standing in the center of the courtyard with his hands behind his back. When he saw Gu Qingqiu coming out, his handsome face was filled with laughter. A gentle smile. Gu Changge looked at Gu Qingqiu. After not seeing him for a month, the girl seemed to have become a little more mature from her immature appearance, and her temperament was more noble. Such a big change in 1 month. Gu Changge always felt that Gu Qingqiu was already extremely extraordinary. With a thought in his heart, he opened the Gu Qingqiu panel. Nickname, Gu Qingqiu. Identity, daughter of a branch of the Changsheng Gu family, reborn supreme. Strength, 6th level of liquid realm. Physique, supreme bone. Exercise, Void Sutra. Divine ability, Void Mahamudra. Void Chi, Great Void Technique, Void Cutting, Void Solidification, Recent Fortune. Scanning the Gu Qingqiu panel 1 by 1. When Gu Changge saw the column of Gu Qingqiu's strength, his eyes widened slightly. No? It took 1 month to break through from the 1st level of pregnant spirit realm to the 6th level of liquid transformation realm? 1 big realm, 6 small realms? Is this the incredible thing about the rebirth of Supreme? His heart was shaken, but Gu Changge's expression remained the same as before. He looked at Gu Qingqiu, who came out and said with a smile, Sister Qingqiu, I haven't seen you for a month, and you are much more beautiful. Brother Divine Child. Gu Qingqiu shook his head. Brother Divine Child is even more extraordinary, like a banished immortal, and his aura is getting deeper and deeper. In fact, he was also shocked inside, because not only did she improve, but Gu Changge also made unimaginable progress. Not only did his strength break through the 2nd level of the life wheel, Gu Qingqiu also felt a faint aura of fairy revival from Gu Changge. The fairy light around him was the awakening of the fairy bones. Characteristics. As Gu Qingqiu spoke, his eyes narrowed slightly, as if he saw a shadow sitting cross-legged on Gu Changge's chest that suppressed all things in the world. Buzz, in an instant, the phantom suddenly opened its eyes, and a wave of terror hit Gu Qingqiu's mind. Even though she had the soul of the Emperor realm, she took several steps back and turned pale. Gu Qingqiu was shocked in his heart. Gu Changge saw Gu Changge take a few steps back. His face turned pale, and he looked like he was in shock. He raised his eyebrows, then looked at his chest, and he understood. Immortal Bone has already given feedback just now. It seemed that Gu Qingqiu discovered something. Are you okay? Gu Changge walked up to Gu Qingqiu, stretched out his hand to support her body, and asked, I'm fine. Gu Qingqiu suppressed the fear in his heart and shook his head with a pale face. As long as it's okay, but the coming-of-age ceremony test is coming tomorrow. I'm going to take you in to experience it in advance. You are not in good condition now, so you can accept this. Gu Changge nodded, without asking too much, but took out a bottle of 7th grade elixir. Resurrection Pill. It can repair the soul, replenish soul power, and also has an effect on physical injuries. Seeing Gu Changge casually giving himself a bottle of 7th grade elixir, Gu Qingqiu shook his head repeatedly. No, I just feel a little uncomfortable suddenly. I'll be fine after taking a rest. Medicinal pills above 7th grade even for the divine child of the Immortal Gu family. The monthly quota is only a few bottles, 2 bottles of 7th grade elixir, 1 bottle of 8th grade elixir, and 1 bottle of 9th grade elixir. The elixirs are 9th grade, 1st grade is the lowest, 9th grade is the highest, and there are rumors that there are imperial pills. Except for ancient times, emperor-grade elixirs have not appeared for countless years. Keep it. Gu Changge didn't give Gu Qingqiu a chance to refuse, and directly thrust the elixir into her hand. If you don't accept it, how can you trigger the refund yourself? When the elixir was stuffed into Gu Qingqiu's hand, the sound of return that Gu Changge was expecting rang out. Not returned for a month. I don't know how many times it will be this time, and what the reward will be. Ding. The host gives the bound return target. Gu Qingqiu a bottle of 7th grade recovery pill, triggers a 600-fold return, and gets a bottle of 9th grade, true dragon blood pill. 600 times return. A bottle of 9th grade true dragon blood pill. True dragon blood pill is said to be made with the blood of a true dragon. One pill can greatly strengthen the physical body and increase the power of 1 million kilograms. There are 10 pills in a bottle, which is not 10 million kilograms of power. Gu Changge didn't expect that he would get such a big surprise a month later. It seems that the return does not have to be triggered every day in the future, and it can bring huge surprises if you settle down. Gu Changge has been practicing for a month now, and his body, nourished by the immortal bones, has already reached a strength of 5 million kilograms. If he refines this bottle of true dragon blood pill, he will directly have a huge strength of 15 million kilograms. With this power, I am afraid that even the same fate can be exploded on the spot. Now he can't wait to go back and refine the true dragon blood pill immediately. However, Gu Changge still suppressed himself to prevent himself from acting abnormally. After comforting Gu Qingqiu, he told him to take the spiritual restoration pill, and then immediately returned to his courtyard and activated the isolation formation. A wave of the hand. A bottle of blood-colored elixir appeared among Gu Chang's singer. Even though the elixir bottle was hidden, it still glowed with red light. Pour one out and drop it into the palm of your hand. This is an elixir that is as round as a red agate. There seems to be a little bloody dragon swimming inside the elixir. It is extremely magical. Gu Changge can feel a strong sense of longing after just one look at his body. Gu Changge didn't hesitate when he saw this and swallowed it directly. Roared, the elixir entered his abdomen, and in an instant the dragon roared, and his energy and blood vibrated like a rushing river, beginning to strengthen his physical body. Chapter 18. A Night of Silence. All 10 true dragon blood pills were refined by Gu Changge. At this time, the energy and blood all over his body was surging, and thunder roared at the slightest movement, as if there was thunder exploding in his body. With a wave of his hand, the void shook and twisted, as if it would collapse in the next second. The tyrannical power gave Gu Changge the feeling of being able to penetrate the void and shatter the stars. However, he knew that this was just the feeling of expansion caused by the sudden increase in power, and the actual attack would not be so exaggerated. But the huge force of 15 million kilograms can indeed break mountains and rivers and crush the earth with a fist. The coming-of-age ceremony trial. On the second level of the life wheel, with a physical body of 1,500 kilograms, no one can defeat me. Gu Changge stood up with a proud look on his face. At this time, Gu Qing's messenger jade token flew out from the storage ring, telling Gu Changge that it was time to gather in front of the void secret realm. Upon seeing this, Gu Changge took back the jade token of communication, then walked out of the courtyard and walked towards the courtyard where Gu Qingqiu was. He is ready. Seeing this, Gu Changge smiled and said, "Let's go." Gu Qingqiu's beautiful eyes are sparkling with autumn water. She is wearing a cyan inner coat and a white gauze skirt. Her stunning beauty, coupled with the supreme aura that suppresses all things, makes people unable to take their eyes away from her. However, when Gu Qingqiu and Gu Changge stood together, she was not so outstanding. Gu Changge's unearthly and immortal temperament, like a fire in the dark, is even more eye-catching. In front of the void secret realm is a huge square. At this time, the younger generation of the Changsheng Gu family gathered together. The secret realm of the void is opened every 3 years, and there are various rare and exotic beasts in it that have been exiled by the Changsheng Gu family. These treasures of heaven, material, and earth are useless to the elders, but they are extremely precious to the younger ones. Even if the coming-of-age ceremony trial is started every 3 years, not only does the foundation of the Void Secret Realm remain unchanged, but it becomes more and more mellow. With such continuous inheritance, treasures of heaven and earth that even King Realm covet appear in the Void Secret Realm from time to time. The 3-year coming-of-age trial has finally arrived. The rules of the trial have changed this time. They are divided into 2 ranking methods. One is the previous personal points ranking, and the other is the team ranking. I really hope I can be placed on the same team as Divine Child. Speaking of which, the Chang'e Divine Child is really defiant. Not long after he became the first sequence, he actually awakened his second talent, causing the ancestor to show up and appoint him as the Divine Child. Many members of the Changsheng family were talking about it, and the target of the discussion was naturally Gu Chang'e, who caused a stir a month ago. At this time, someone suddenly exclaimed, "Second sequence, Gu Yuan is here." Gu Yuan's sequence reached the 9th level of the Hongqiao realm a month ago. I don't know if he has entered the Wheel of Life. Gu Yuanxian possesses 108 royal bones. He is a born king. Every move he makes carries the domineering true meaning. He can easily make people lose their fighting spirit and sink their will. In the past, he was Changji's Divine Child's strong rival. This time in the adult ceremony test when I meet Lien, I don't know what sparks there will be with Chang'e Divine Child. Some people just spoke, and others exclaimed. The third sequence, Mr. Frost's sword is also here. Mr. Frost's sword is a natural sword body, a kind of holy body. The battle in the previous sequence has already shown the sword intention of the heroes of Gaia. If it were not for the power of Chang'e Divine Child dual pupils, it's too mysterious, and Master Shuangjian's strength is only at the 7th level of Hongqiao. I'm afraid that by then, the first sequence may not be Chang'e Divine Child. What a terrifying sword intent. Just one look at it. It feels like your eyes have been stabbed blind. Amidst bursts of exclamations, the 4th, 5th, and other sequences appeared one by one as if they had been agreed upon. Wait until they come to the center of the square. The surrounding disciples of the Changsheng family began to stand behind the sequence they were optimistic about. In addition, there are still a large number of people who are still watching. Their eyes are eager, and they frequently look towards the entrance of the Void Secret Realm Square, hoping to see the figure who is as noble as a fairy. Finally, in the next second, I saw the clouds and mist twisting at the entrance of the Void Secret Square, and 2 figures immediately attracted the attention of the audience. The first person to step into the secret square was a young man who looked young and had a rather immature face. This young man is extremely extraordinary, with picturesque facial features and an indescribable noble temperament. He is like a son of a fairy, attracting the heaven and earth around him with every move he makes. Next to the young man, a girl with the same beautiful appearance, who had already begun to show her allure at a young age, followed beside him. These are Gu Chang'e and Gu Qingqiu. When everyone present saw Gu Chang'e, they were all stunned. "This is Long Song Divine Child? I haven't seen you for a month. How could there be such a big change? Such magnanimity and dazzling style are so awe-inspiring and terrifying. The Chang'e Divine Child has not been seen for a month. I am afraid that it has been blessed with an unexpected blessing. Is it because of the awakening of the second divine ability?" All the children of the Changsheng family were extremely shocked. Gu Yuan in the second sequence, Gu Shuangjian in the third sequence, as well as Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao, and other sequences looked at Gu Chang'e with trembling eyes and found it hard to calm down. There is no doubt about it. Gu Chang'e had already made everyone aware of the sequence when he appeared on the scene. After a month of absence, this former first sequence, now the ancestor of the Divine Child, had once again experienced a shocking change in strength. Gu Shuangjian's eyes were fixed on Gu Chang'e, and the long sword on his back let out a roar of swords. The terrifying sword intent enveloped the entire secret square, and the cold sword light flashed in the void, making people scalp numb and shuddering. Gu Yuan also exudes a domineering aura, like a king lording over the world, riding a horse across the galaxy, making people want to kneel down and prostrate themselves. Gu Chang'e looked at Gu Yuan and Gu Shuangjian with interest. In the past, when he had not awakened Immortal Bone, Su Hui, and Tongzi, maybe the 2 of them could really put some pressure on him, but now there is no pressure at all. Gu Qingqiu also attracted attention. Many people marvel at Gu Qingqiu's beauty, but some people know that Gu Qingqiu has the appearance of supreme bone. Looking at the longevity of the Gu family, this is a supreme talent that can rival dual pupils. Now standing next to Gu Chang'e, I am afraid that the two of them are already the same person. This makes many children of the Changsheng Gu family envious and amazed. Dual pupils plus supreme bone. The main vein is still the main vein. After Gu Changge entered the scene, Gu Qing and 6 clan elders with extremely high cultivation levels appeared standing above the Void Secret Realm square. Gu Qing looked down at the children of the Immortal Gu family, landed on Gu Changge, paused briefly, and said loudly, "The coming-of-age ceremony trial that is held every 3 years has started again. Everyone must be aware of the rule changes. Now you hold the token and stand in 10 batches according to the traction of the light. After that, the Divine Child and the sequence will draw the team number." Chapter 19. Gu Qing waved his sleeves and said, "Let's get started." The next moment, in the Void Secret Square, thousands of tokens began to emit light, and the disciples of the Immortal Gu family began to follow the guidance of the light and walk to the area where their number plates guided them. Gu Changge, Gu Yuan, Gu Shuangjian and other disciples did not need to move and remain standing where they were. And Gu Qingqiu didn't take any action. This time she just followed Gu Changge to watch the ceremony, and her actions would not count towards the team's points, nor would she get a token. The 6 clan elders with high cultivation level around Gu Qing focused their attention on Gu Changge and Gu Qingqiu. A clan elder said, "Master, Gu Qingqiu is pregnant with the Supreme Bone. Isn't it a bit inappropriate to let her follow the Divine Child directly into the Void Secret Realm?" Yes, although there are no very powerful beasts and ghosts in the Void Secret Realm, if something unexpected happens, our Immortal Gu family will lose a peerless monster with Supreme Bone. Another clan elder spoke. Gu Qing looked calm when he heard this. He looked down at Gu Qingqiu, who was standing with Gu Changge, and said calmly, "It doesn't matter. Changge has his own plan, and we are watching. Can any accidents happen? Didn't the Void Secret Realm experience turmoil earlier? Don't be afraid of 10,000. Just be afraid of the worst." The third clan elder sighed and said, "No, besides, since Qingqiu came with Changge, Changge must have asked her and she agreed." All right. When Gu Qing said this, all the clan elders could not continue to say anything. As for being too young to enter, that's just that the level hasn't reached the point of trampling the rules. Even though the Changsheng Gu family is a high-ranking Changsheng family, overlooking the world of mortals, there is still a distinction between high and low in the family, and there is no difference in the world. The teams were quickly divided, with a total of 10 teams, which perfectly eliminated the idea of some people wanting to follow behind the powerful sequence. Changge, let's draw the number plate. A ball of spiritual light fell in front of Gu Changge and others. Gu Changge did not hesitate and reached out to grab the aura in front of him. The next moment, the aura turned into a white jade token, with a very conspicuous number 10 engraved on it. It was obvious that Gu Changge would take charge of the 10th team and enter the Void Secret Realm for the coming-of-age ceremony trial. When Gu Changge was drawing, the descendants of the Changsheng Gu family and the 10 teams behind them all held their breath and waited for the result of Gu Changge's drawing to be announced. When they saw Gu Changge taking charge of the 10th team, the entire 10th team of Changsheng Gu family members cheered and laughed wildly. As for the team that was not selected by Gu Changge, the children of the Gu family were very disappointed. However, they quickly worked hard, and it was useless to lose. Since they were not supported by the Divine Child, in addition to the Divine Child, Gu Yuan and Gu Shuangjian in the second and third sequences were also not bad. Soon, Gu Yuan and Gu Shuangjian also finished drawing numbers. I don't know if it was a coincidence, but the team numbers they drew were the same as theirs, and they were also the second and third teams. This made the Gu family members of these two teams cheer excitedly. A quarter of an hour later, Gu Qing looked at the 9-digit sequence standing in front of the 10 teams, one Divine Child, and nodded with satisfaction. "Okay, you can now freely enter the secret realm of the void. The token has the effect of protecting your life. If you are in danger, you will be sent out of the void. In the secret realm, the points will be locked at that time, and personal rankings will be compiled after the end. Okay, let's go in." Team after team entered the secret realm of the void. Gu Qing and the other 6 clan elders with extraordinary cultivation also condensed a spiritual mirror and began to check the internal situation of the void secret realm. Gu Changge led 10 teams into the secret realm of the void. As soon as you step into the secret realm, the rich spiritual power fills the surroundings, making people feel relaxed and happy after taking a breath. The children of the Changsheng Gu family in the 10th team also had expressions of enjoyment on their faces. At the same time, their eyes also fell on the figures of Gu Changge and Gu Qingqiu. Although Gu Changge was the leader of their 10th team, the huge gap in status made them afraid to talk to them casually. Gu Qingqiu, who was standing next to Gu Changge, also felt the uneasiness of the Changsheng Gu family's children behind him. According to the selfish Gu Chang'e in the past, I'm afraid he will just abandon the team at this time and compete for the first place in the team and personal first place, right? Now let's see what you do. It's time for the disguise to be revealed in the past few days. Gu Qingqiu thought to herself that for some reason, she felt slightly uncomfortable when she thought that what Gu Chang'e had done to her in the past few days was all a disguise. But it doesn't matter. When I get the chance to get the dragon elephant technique later, I will give him the dragon elephant technique, which will settle my grudges. I will also go to the birthplace of the Changsheng Gu family as soon as possible to get that thing. When I get that thing, my cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds, and I will be better able to seize various opportunities in the future. Just when Gu Qingqiu was thinking this, Gu Chang'e's gentle voice suddenly sounded in his ears. Everyone, although I am a divine child, I was also a member of the Changsheng Gu family before this, so you don't have to be so embarrassed. Gu Chang'e was the first to speak, and his gentle voice was like a breeze, smoothing away all the abnormal mentality emerging in many people's hearts. Among the 10 teams, many girls from the Changsheng Gu family, hearing Gu Chang'e's voice and Gu Chang'e's attitude at this time, all looked at him with joy and admiration. Your Highness Divine Child, a clan girl boldly said. I don't know what His Highness Divine Child plans next, and how should we act? The others nodded repeatedly when they heard this, and all looked at Gu Chang'e enthusiastically. Although Gu Chang'e used to possess dual pupils and fought to become the first rank, and even became a divine child, with countless rays of light, there were also many descendants of the Immortal Gu family who knew him. The new divine child of their Immortal Gu family seems to have an indifferent personality and doesn't care about anything. He just wants to follow his own path of invincibility. Looking at it now, it's quite different. The rumors were indeed misleading. Gu Chang'e looked at the clan girl who spoke first, nodded with a smile, and said, It is our first time to enter the secret realm of the void. Among them, the most powerful beasts and ghosts are the Spirit Ascension realm. The beasts, ghosts, and monsters of the Spirit Ascension realm. There is no threat to me. You can just hunt the beasts and ghosts with me. Except for the beasts and ghosts in the Life Will realm and Spirit Ascension realm, I will take action. I will let you kill the other beasts and ghosts on your own. When everyone in the 10th team heard this, they all showed joy and enthusiasm. This is one of the benefits of being on the Divine Child team. There is no risk of elimination at all. Life Wheel and Spirit Ascension are like chickens and dogs in front of our Divine Child. They will not pose any threat. They only need to score points. And maybe I can get some guidance from the Divine Child. Even some of the girls from the Changsheng Gu family often looked at Gu Chang'e's extremely handsome face with their beautiful eyes. Their faces turned red, and they were probably imagining some other embarrassing things in their hearts. Chapter 20. When Gu Qingqiu saw this scene, he looked at Gu Chang'e blankly and blinked. No? Are you serious? Who is this young man who cares about his fellow humans and is as gentle as jade? Are you not Gu Chang'e? You have been pretended to be. Gu Qingqiu's heart stirred up waves, and she began to doubt that the development of the world she was reborn in would probably not proceed as it did in her previous life. Gu Chang'e has changed too much. No wonder Gu Qingqiu is suspicious. However, although this idea exists, it needs to be verified by many parties. Gu Qingqiu's beautiful eyes are clear. Whether Gu Chang'e has changed alone will be known after the coming-of-age ceremony trial is over, because there will be a heaven-defying opportunity, dragon elephant skill, in the coming-of-age ceremony trial. Let's go. Gu Chang'e thought for a while and then said, But we can't wander aimlessly. Before entering the secret realm of the void, did the elders of the clan give you a treasure hiding place? The void's secret realm has been open for so long, and every adult tribesman who enters must have some treasures of heaven, materials, and earth that cannot be taken away for the time being. Therefore, many elders will collect this information and tell their children this information when they enter, so that they can not only compete with ferocious beasts and ghosts, but also gain adventures. After the words fell, the eyes of many people in the 10th team flickered. Obviously there were some. It's just that how can they easily share their own treasure location, and if it is shared, it won't be obtained by others. But the next second, Gu Chang'e's words shocked the hearts of those Gu family members who had the location of the treasure, and they looked at Gu Chang'e in disbelief. Gu Chang'e smiled lightly and said, I know you must have it. I can help you seize the opportunity without any effort. The most important thing about the coming-of-age ceremony trial is to hone the cooperation of the same clan. And where there is a chance treasure, there must be a high-level ferocious beast. Ghosts can also earn points better. This is what Gu Chang'e really thinks. As a divine child, his words naturally have credibility. A young man with a rather mature face came out holding a long sword. Gu Jing politely said to Gu Chang'e, "Divine child, I have information about a place of opportunity. It was discovered by my last cousin. There is a beast of the Wheel of Life there guarding a 6th-grade treasure." After the mature young man finished speaking, he stared at Gu Chang'e with burning eyes. Gu Chang'e's eyes lit up. "Oh? A life wheel realm is worth 100 points. You provide the location. If it is right, that opportunity is yours. I will deal with the beasts in the life wheel realm. As the divine child of our immortal Gu family, it is naturally impossible to fall into the name of divine child. In the coming-of-age ceremony trial, I will definitely reach the top." Hearing Gu Chang'e's words, Gu Jing was overjoyed and said quickly, "My cousin made a mark before. Just take out the mark token to guide the direction. I just saw it and it's nearby." "Okay, in that case let's set off." Gu Chang'e nodded and asked Gu Jing to come to his side and show him the way. Void's Secret Plaza. Gu Qing and the 6 clan elders were watching the development of the secret realm. When they saw that Gu Chang'e cared about his fellow tribesmen and wanted to help them seize their own opportunities, they all nodded and smiled. Chang'e Divine Child has begun to take on the appearance of Divine Child, and he should be the leader of the younger generation of my Changsheng Gu family. A clan elder gently stroked his white beard and said with a faint smile, "The move of Chang'e Divine Child kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only can it help others gain opportunities, but it can also kill high-level ferocious beasts and ghosts, earning a large amount of points. It's really outstanding to think of this at the age of 16. Another clan elder spoke. Hearing the praise of Gu Chang'e from the clan elders present, Gu Qing felt extremely happy, and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. However, Gu Qing still suppressed his happiness. "We won't know until the adult ceremony trial is over. Let's not make a conclusion so early." When the 6 clan elders heard this, they looked at each other and laughed out loud. Gu Qing was happy that they couldn't sense it. Gu Chang'e took Gu Qingqiu and the 10th team of Gu family children to the place of opportunity where the beasts of the Fate Wheel guarded the 6th-grade treasure. At the same time, dozens of miles away on the right side of Gu Chang'e, there was also a group of people heading in the same direction as them. The second sequence, Gu Yuan, was currently communicating with the person next to him. "Are you sure there are 6th-grade elixirs and Fate will level ferocious beasts there?" "Yes, Gu Yuan sequence." The man nodded. "This opportunity was given to me by my cousin, who was the last student." "Okay, wait until you kill the Fate Wheel Realm beast and obtain the 6th-grade medicine. You will be rewarded after you get out." "Thank you, Gu Yuan sequence." The Gu family boy looked overjoyed when he heard this. As for the extravagant desire to obtain the 6th-grade treasure medicine and the Fate Wheel Realm ferocious beast points, he never thought about it. Gu Chang'e didn't know yet that besides himself, someone else had thought of this method and had a chance with him. But because Gu Chang'e was closer to this opportunity, Gu Chang'e soon arrived at the location of opportunity. This is a dense jungle, and through the gaps between the trees, you can see a huge nest, nesting in the center of the jungle. The divine child is here. Gu Jing looked at the nest in the forest and said respectfully. Gu Chang'e heard this and looked towards the lair. "I saw a terrifying big bird exuding a burning breath lying in the nest. The big bird was 100 feet in size. Now it was lying in the nest with its belly heaving. It looked like it was resting. Fire Eagle Luanio has indeed reached the Life Wheel realm, and it is still on the 2nd level of the Life Wheel." Gu Chang'e nodded and confirmed the information. Except for Gu Qingqiu, the other members of the Gu family who were born in the 10th captain felt tense after hearing this. Life Wheel realm. It's not something they can deal with. But luckily there is Divine Child. Everyone looked at Gu Chang'e expectantly. The only one among them who has the ability to deal with the 2nd-level ferocious beasts in the Life Wheel realm is probably the Divine Child. Gu Jing asked Gu Chang'e, "Divine Child, how should we cooperate with you next?" Hearing this, Gu Chang'e was stunned and looked at Gu Jing strangely. "What are you cooperating with?" "Well?" Gu Jing was stunned and said awkwardly, "Of course I will cooperate with you, Divine Child, to kill this ferocious beast. It's just a ferocious beast on the 2nd level of the Life Wheel realm. How can I use you to cooperate with me?" Gu Chang'e said something funny and took a step forward under the astonished gazes of Gu Jing and the children of the Gu family in the 10th team. "Kill this beast. It's just a matter of raising your hand." Gu Chang'e spoke calmly, then raised his hand and pressed it with his palm. The terrifying space fluctuations formed a circle of ripples and suddenly condensed on the head of the Fire Eagle Wan bird on the 2nd level of the Wheel of Life. Buzz, the void rippled, and in an instant a translucent 300-foot giant hand was formed to suppress it. Void Mahamudra. Almost at the moment when Gu Changge unleashed his attack, the resting fire eagle Yuan suddenly woke up, raised its head high, and howled in fear at the 300-foot-high void handprint that was suppressing it. Chirp! The Firehawk and the Phoenix. Chirp T. Chapter 21. The big hand seal of the void was wrapped with the power of thunder. The fire eagle and Luan bird had just raised their hands, and the big hand seal of the void 300 feet had already fallen. Boom! The ground roared and smoke and dust exploded. A wave of terror spread. The fire eagle Yuan was suppressed on the spot by the great handprint of the void. The next moment, the big handprint of the void grabbed, blood sprayed, and bird feathers flew and fell. The air wave formed by the falling of the big handprint spread, making the hair of Gu Jing and other Changsheng Gu family disciples present fly. However, they didn't feel anything. They just stared blankly at the direction where the big handprint of the void fell and clenched tightly. Because this second-level fire eagle and Luan bird in the life wheel realm has been turned into a pulp by their divine child's big handprint. A ferocious beast on the second level of the life wheel realm was killed by Gu Changge, the divine child, in front of their eyes with just a raise of his hand. Hiss! Is this the strength of divine child? How many people of the same generation can kill people on the second level of the life wheel realm by raising their hands and pressing down? I'm afraid only divine child has this strength now. Gu Jing and other members of the Changsheng Gu family felt their scalps numb. And when Gu Changge killed the vicious beast on the second level of the life wheel realm, for those who have not yet obtained points, or who have obtained more than a dozen points, or who have obtained dozens of points, their tokens are shining brightly. Gu Changge's name instantly shot to the top. At the same time, the 10th team led by Gu Changge also jumped from 10th to 1st. Seeing this scene, all the children of the Gu family who participated in the coming-of-age ceremony were stunned. Is this divine child taking action? Damn it! Your points increased by 100. Is this because you killed a beast and ghost in the Wheel of Life realm? Hi, as expected of divine child, tyrannical. In the third sequence, Gu Shuangjian killed the ghosts on the 6th layer of the Hongqiao realm with one sword. He glanced at Gu Changge, who was number 1 on the double list on the token, with a cold expression on his face. Did you kill the Fate Wheel realm? I'm also going to find a Fate Wheel. After Gu Shuangjian said that, he turned back to look at the team he led. His original idea of leaving immediately was slightly restrained, and he sighed helplessly. He would rather act alone, but reality doesn't allow it. If he leaves, the third trial team will be dispersed. How did the clan view him at that time? However, Gu Shuangjian is also strange. With Gu Changge's temperament, he should have the same idea as him, but the team points are calculated only if the tokens are gathered nearby to kill the beasts and ghosts together. This proves that Gu Changge has obtained 100 points, and the team all the Gu family members are there. Gu Shuangjian didn't understand, so he simply ignored it and led the others to quickly hunt down the ferocious beasts and ghosts. Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao and others also had their eyes flickering and had different thoughts. And Gu Yuan in the second sequence. At this time, he had already heard the roar coming from the direction of Gu Changge killing the beast in the life wheel realm. At the same time, Gu Yuan also saw on the token list that Gu Changge and Team Tin had climbed to the top of the double list. Did Gu Changge take action just now? Hurry up and keep up, Gu Yuan said to the second trial team behind him. Gu Changge sighed. Raising his hand to kill the Fire Eagle and Luan Bird Beast on the second level of the life wheel, he didn't have any psychological fluctuations. Now that he has cultivated to the second level of the life wheel realm, and is also the second level of the 9 lines life wheel, not to mention that the technique is the inheritance of the great Emperor realm. Void Sutra, his moves are naturally extraordinary. Cultivation alone. When he fights against ordinary Fate Wheel level ferocious beasts like the Fire Eagle and Luan Bird at the second level of a life wheel, he can kill them at around the 5th level life wheel level. If he adds the power of his physical body, he may be able to kill them at the 8th or 9th level of the life wheel level. If you use dual pupils and the Immortal Law and Immortal Bones, you will be invincible in the Wheel of Life realm, even if you are a genius of the same level. This is the invincible foundation that dual pupils and Immortal Bones bring to Gu Changge. If you want to cause trouble for him, you must at least be the relic of a pure-blooded ferocious beast at the 6th or 7th level of the life wheel. There are also different types of ferocious beasts. Ordinary ferocious beasts, pure-blooded ferocious beasts. These pure-blooded ferocious beasts are one of the most powerful enemies of the human race in the 3000 Dao realm. This will be discussed later. Alright. Gu Changge stopped his hand and looked at the Fire Eagle Luan Bird that he had crushed into a ball of flesh. He turned to Gu Jing and said, I have dealt with this beast of the Wheel of Life. You can go and get the chance. Hearing this, Gu Jing came to his senses in a trance. Oh, thank you. Thank you, divine child. Gu Jing's face was in a trance, and there was still a look of shock on his face as he walked towards the nest of the fire eagle and luan bird. After a while, Gu Jing, with a happy face, grabbed a fiery red spirit herb that looked like the tail feathers of a fire eagle and came to Gu Changge. The fire eagle medicine, this red color is probably infinitely close. 5th grade is a treasure. Seeing this, the other children of the Changsheng Gu family looked at Gu Jing with envy. 6th grade's treasure. Except for the occasional access to this precious medicine by the likes of Sequence and Divine Child, ordinary disciples like them would probably only see a few of them in their lifetime. Precious medicines are naturally divided into grades. Like elixirs, once you reach the 9th grade, there is the elixir of immortality. Gu Jing noticed the gazes of the other immortal Gu family disciples, and his face lit up with joy. After hesitating for a few breaths, he gritted his teeth and handed the fire eagle elixir to Gu Changge. Divine Child, if Divine Child hadn't taken action, I can't get this 6th grade elixir, which should belong to Divine Child. Hearing this, the others all looked at Gu Changge. Gu Changge waved his hand. Keep it, Divine Child. This is your opportunity, as promised before. Gu Changge smiled lightly. Finally, Gu Jing confirmed that Gu Changge had no intention of accepting the medicine, and then he accepted the medicine with a relaxed expression, and then a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. When others saw Gu Changge's appearance, some of the disciples who had the opportunity suddenly couldn't sit still. Divine Child, I know an opportunity for the wheel of life. I have one here too. Divine Child, I have a great opportunity here, and I am guarding a ferocious beast from the Spirit Ascension realm. A dozen people walked out of the team and approached Gu Changge with expressions of enthusiasm and admiration. Gu Changge heard the opportunity of Spirit Ascension realm among these people. Gu Changge raised his hand. These children of the Gu family, who had the opportunity, became quiet when they heard this, and looked at Gu Changge's otherworldly handsome face with longing. The person who just said that he has the opportunity of the Spirit Ascension realm? Gu Changge just wanted to ask the son of the Gu family who had the opportunity of the Spirit Ascension realm to come out and talk in detail, but he stopped talking in the middle of the sentence and replaced it. After looking at the team, Gu Qingqiu seemed to sense something and followed Gu Changge's gaze for the second time. The next moment, I saw Gu Yuan, who was full of tyranny and looked like a king walking on earth, leading the 3rd trial team. Gu Yuan sequence. Gu Changge looked at Gu Yuan, his face still calm. Gu Changge was calm, but others were not. Gu Yuan sequence. I'll go. Gu Yuan sequence has always been at odds with Changge Divine Child. They're not going to fight. I'm looking forward to it. With Gu Yuan's character, I definitely can't meet Changge Divine Child without discussing it. Chapter 22. It's really you. Gu Yuan stared at Gu Changge with burning eyes. Changge Divine Child. After saying that, he looked towards the ruins of the Fire Eagle Luan bird's nest. When he saw the Fire Eagle Luan bird turned into flesh on the ground, his pupils shrank. It seems that the opportunity here has been obtained by you, Changge Divine Child. Gu Yuan said firmly. Good. Gu Changge nodded. So you also have chance information here? Nature. Is there anything else? If not, I will take my team and leave first. If you do it, it may have a big impact on you. Gu Changge's voice was gentle, without any hint of sharpness. This Divine Child doesn't want to compete with Gu Yuan's sequence. Are you afraid? Changge has changed a lot since he was promoted from the rank to Divine Child. Is this because of the issue of harmony among the same clan? After all, he will lead our Changsheng Gu family in the future. Maybe a little bit, but you guys who say you are scared, are you blind? Didn't you see a fate wheel level ferocious beast that died there? It killed him with just one blow at a glance. The strength of the Divine Child is as we can imagine. Everyone was talking about the second team led by Gu Yuan. The same is true for the children of the Changsheng Gu family in the 10th team, but compared to the doubts of the children of the Changsheng Gu family in the 2nd team, they believe in Gu Changge's strength. After all, the scene of killing the life will realm with one strike just now was very shocking and could not be due to fear. All I can say is, as Divine Child, Gu Changge's situation is even bigger. Gu Yuan didn't know what other people thought, but when he heard what Gu Changge said to him, his fists immediately tightened. What do you mean? Gu Yuan frowned and looked at Gu Changge and said coldly, do you think if I attack you, you will definitely be defeated and seriously injured? Gu Changge did not answer Gu Yuan and kept a faint smile on his face. Just this look, without any words, told Gu Yuan what Gu Chang'e thought. Gu Yuan's face changed, and he felt a little angry. He took a step forward, and the extremely domineering aura of the 9th level of the Hongqiao realm burst out. Gu Chang'e, you think that you can awaken your second talent, become a divine child, and break through the wheel of life? Are you overpowering everyone in our Changsheng Gu family? When competing for the first rank, don't forget that I am also competing with you. Boom. The terrifying domineering force spreads, the leaves fly, and the smoke drifts. Even the children of the Changsheng Gu family in the audience all felt that a huge mountain was being pressed on their chests, and they couldn't help but breathe quickly. Gu Yuan has 108 royal bones and is a born king. They are both in the Hongqiao realm, but the gap is so huge that these Immortal Gu family children have no idea of resistance. It is too scary. All right, then let's fight quickly so that you can recover quickly. Gu Chang'e, how dare you look down on me? Gu Yuan roared angrily, stepped on his foot, and immediately turned into a terrifying stream of light, hitting Gu Chang'e. The space seemed to be cut open. In an instant, a stream of light rushed in front of Gu Chang'e, punched out, and the void exploded, like a wild tiger that suddenly hit Gu Chang'e. It's Gu Yuan's Tyrant Tiger Fist. Hiss! When Gu Yuan's sequence was testing his boxing power in the martial arts arena, the Tyrant Tiger Fist could already hit 8 million kilograms of force. Now I'm afraid it won't reach tens of millions of kilograms. You know, Gu, the natural king of the Yuan sequence, combined with the Saint-grade Tiger Fist, is like a tiger, adding even more power, and it is absolutely possible to have tens of millions of kilograms of strength. The Gu Yuan sequence has become stronger again. I'm afraid it's not far from the Life Wheel realm. In the Changsheng Gu family, who among the younger generation can punch out 8 million kilograms of force with one punch, not even the former Gu Chang'e. Not to mention that Gu Yuan could explode nearly 10 million kilograms of force with one punch at this time. No one can match it. However, just when everyone was marveling at the terror of Gu Yuan's Tiger Fist, the originally menacing and terrifying wild tiger was instantly shattered by a punch of light, and a crisp, click sound echoed in the void. The sudden crisp crackling sound attracted the attention of all the Immortal Gu family disciples present, and the void became silent. Then there was a roar. In everyone's sight, a black shadow flew out from the explosion dust and knocked down several towering trees. Boom! Giant trees collapsed and leaves flew. People who thought a fight between dragons and tigers would break out looked at this sudden scene and opened their mouths in shock, dumbfounded. How possible? Gu Yuan's mouth was bleeding, and his eyes were full of disbelief. At this time, his right hand had been shattered and was hanging weakly by his side. It's just a comminuted fracture in my right hand. It will heal in a few days. I'm leaving first. Gu Chang'e smiled and nodded at Gu Yuan, who was in disbelief, then turned and walked towards the stunned Gu Jing and others. A flash of light flashed in Gu Qingqiu's beautiful eyes, and he was extremely shocked. That punch had a force of at least 15 million kilograms. With such physical power in the Life Wheel realm, this guy is better than the one I remembered from my previous life. Gu Chang'e, not only his personality has undergone earth-shaking changes, but his talent and combat power have also undergone earth-shaking changes. Gu Qingqiu is very aware of the gold content of the second level of the Life Wheel realm, which can reach 15 million kilograms. In the past life, there was a battle. Even the kings of genius who competed in the 3000 Dao realm in the later period, except for some who have heaven-defying physical talents, may not have the strength of 1,500 kilograms on the second level of the Fate Wheel realm. As for Gu Chang'e, his talent is dual pupils, and with the mystery bred in his chest, he should not have any incredible physical abilities. While Gu Qingqiu was thinking wildly, Gu Chang'e had already arrived in front of Gu Jing and others. Those who know the opportunity of Spirit Ascension Realm, please come out and talk as you go. Gu Chang'e took the lead. Gu Jing and other members of the 10th team of the Gu family suddenly came back to their senses and followed Gu Chang'e's pace with excitement and admiration. Watched Gu Chang'e and others leave. The next second, the children of the Changsheng Gu family in the second team couldn't help but burst into an uproar. Oh my god, Chang'e Divine Child actually defeated Gu Yuan's sequence with one punch. Hiss! Is the gap between the 9th level of Hongqiao realm and the Life Wheel realm so big? Even Gu Yuan's sequence, which used to compete with Chang'e Divine Child, can't block a punch now. Is it possible that Chang'e Divine Child's Life Wheel realm is very strong, rather than the gap between the 9th level of Hongqiao realm and the Life Wheel realm? If Gu Yuan's sequence were to fight an ordinary Life Wheel realm, one punch would be enough to kill him. That would be a punch weighing tens of millions of kilograms. Ahem. Gu Yuan held his right hand and coughed out 2 mouthfuls of blood. He stood up from the ground and looked in the direction of Guchanga. What is the second talent that guy awakened? How could it change so much? How could he have such terrifying physical power? Gu Yuan murmured, and the feeling of tearing and splitting in his chest made his face turn pale again. Just now, that guy Guchanga said that taking action had a great impact on him. It turns out that he really doesn't despise himself. But the more this happened, the angrier Gu Yuan became, because this further proved that he was inferior to Guchanga. Chapter 23. Outside the secret realm of void, Gu Qing and the 6 clan elders widened their eyes in surprise. However, Gu Qing came to his senses instantly and adjusted his expression, but the raised corners of his mouth were even harder to suppress than a K. Other clan elders were amazed. Chang'e Divine Child breaks through the wheel of life, and it's like being reborn. Gu Yuan's sequence has the body of a heavenly king after all, with 108 royal bones. He is a born king. With the blessing of spiritual power moves, that punch is at least tens of millions of kilograms strong. However, Chang'e Divine Child's punch, defeating Gu Yuan's sequence will lead to unimaginable achievements in the future. My Changsheng Gu family will give birth to another great emperor. After the clan elders finished speaking, they all looked at Gu Qing with envy. Gu Qing still couldn't help but laugh out loud and said with a laugh, "You guys are just joking. It's still early for Chang'e to take charge of his own business. Divine Child is invincible. The Divine Child is so strong. He can even defeat the Gu Yuan sequence who once competed with you with one punch." Gu Chang'e walked at the front of the team. Behind him, a group of girls from the Gu family had blushing faces, and their beautiful eyes looked at the immortal figure with great admiration. Gu Qingqiu followed Gu Chang'e without saying a word, but her beautiful eyes couldn't help but look at him. No way. Gu Chang'e is too dazzling now. Even though she is the reborn supreme, she is probably a little inferior to her peers. With supreme bone and the opportunity information that can be harvested in the mind, it is possible to reach the current second level of Gu Chang'e's life wheel realm when he breaks through the life wheel realm. Breaking through the realm only increases your strength greatly. Gu Chang'e turned sideways and said to the female clansmen behind him. Looking at that perfect profile face, all the clan girls screamed inwardly, "He is so handsome." Although he looks a little immature, he is already extremely handsome, with a faint light like fairy light. He is dressed in gold and black clothes, exuding a fatal temptation like a poppy, and with a noble aura. Even Gu Jing, the male children of the Gu family, only have respect in their hearts and cannot bear the slightest jealousy. Boom, suddenly, a terrifying divine light shot into the sky instantly. Divine light ripples, waves ripple. The sudden divine light rising into the sky attracted the attention of everyone in the void secret realm. At the same time, 2 distress messages also appeared on the token. It was a distress message from the team controlled by Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao. In addition to recording points, checking team rankings, and personal rankings, the token also has a rescue function. If a nearby team encounters it, you can go to rescue it. If the rescue is successful, you can get half of the points of that team. Gu Chang'e looked at the place where the divine light was rippling, then looked at the token, and he already had a guess in his mind. Now that Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao have sent out distress messages at the same time, it is very likely that the 2 teams are acting together, and it seems that they have encountered problems together that they cannot solve. 2 teams came together, and 2 sequences joined forces. The beasts and ghosts on the 4th and 5th levels of the life wheel realm, and even on the 7th and 8th levels, should not be able to ask for help. Then there is only one possibility. That is when they encounter the 9th level of the wheel of life realm, and even the ferocious beasts and ghosts of the spirit ascension realm. Divine Child. This direction seems to be the direction of opportunity of the spirit ascension realm that I know. Guyi, who knew the opportunity of spirit ascension realm, took out a jade pendant and sensed it, and immediately said to Gu Chang'e, "Yeah." Gu Chang'e's eyes flashed, and the next moment he said something that shocked everyone. "You don't have to take action from now on, just leave it all to me. Just keep up with my speed." After Gu Chang'e said that, he rose into the air in front of everyone's wide-eyed eyes. At this time, only then did everyone clearly realize that their divine child was now a powerful person with a life wheel, a powerful being that could step into the void and fly for more than 10 miles in the blink of an eye. "Follow me." Gu Chang'e stood in the void, pointing towards Gu Qingqiu below. Gu Jing and others reminded him, and the figure began to fly towards the front of the team. The center of the void secret realm. A group of people were running hard, looking behind them with frightened expressions from time to time. Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao, each holding a ball of light, can vaguely see from the light a herb and a fruit. The two women were pale, breathless, and looked like they had been seriously injured. Gu Ziyu looked at the children of the immortal Gu family who were following her and said quickly, "That ferocious beast is targeting me and Xiaoxiao. Stop following us and leave quickly. You can also kill ferocious beasts and ghosts in the secret realm. Other compensations will be given in the coming-of-age ceremony. After it is refined, we will give it to you." Gu Xiaoxiao also said, "The ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension Realm are not something we can defeat. Now Ziyu and I can only withdraw from the adult ceremony trial. I'm sorry that I can't continue to lead everyone." Purple Jade Sequence. This time it's our problem. If we hadn't said we could definitely try to deal with that beast, you wouldn't have taken action. Yes, the Purple Jade Sequence and the Xiaoxiao Sequence are all our fault. Please don't apologize. Gu Ziyu looked back at the direction of the roar and said with a solemn expression, "Hurry up and separate, or you will be overtaken any later. Xiaoxiao and I will lure the Spirit Ascension Realm beast away and exit." "Xiaoxiao," Gu Ziyu called out to Gu Xiaoxiao. Gu Xiaoxiao nodded, and the two immediately sped up the next moment. When the others saw this, they could only disperse to both sides immediately. There was no way they could deal with the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension Realm, even if they added 2 sequences. But when Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao were about to withdraw without any resistance, following Gu Changge, Gu Jing, Gu Yi and other members of the Gu family who were members of the 10th captain were already numb with shock, and their eyes were out of focus as they followed the path opened by Gu Changge as fast as they could. Now we are very close to the place where the divine light broke out just now. A short time. They had already covered a distance of hundreds of miles. Along the way, there are countless beasts and ghosts in the Liquid Realm and the Rainbow Bridge Realm, and there are even powerful beasts in the Fatewheel Realm. At first, the Liquid Forming and Rainbow Bridge level beasts were okay, but when they encountered the Fatewheel level beasts, and one of them was 2 Fatewheel level beasts, they became nervous. After all, these 2 Fatewheel level ferocious beasts are not new to the Fatewheel. One has a 3rd level Fatewheel, and the other has even reached the 5th level. Just when they thought Gu Changge would return to the team, everyone took action together. As a result, their Lord Divine Child waved his hand with the big hand seal of condensed void, and the ferocious beast that attacked the 3rd level of Life Wheel Realm and the 5th level of Life Wheel Realm exploded into blood mist and died on the spot. They gasped immediately and had goosebumps all over their bodies. Then there was a push all the way. Not a single ferocious beast, ghost, or monster could pass through Gu Changsheng. This invincible grace made them feel shocked and felt like looking up to gods, and it was difficult to calm down. It's so outrageous. It's so invincible. Until now. Boom. As everyone moved forward, they suddenly heard a roar. Gu Changge raised his head and looked at the roaring earth in the distance, with a flash of light in his eyes. Spirit Ascension Realm ferocious beast, as expected. No wonder the 2 sequences joined forces and asked for rescue. Chapter 24. The people who were following Gu Changge were shocked when they heard what he said. What a ferocious beast of the Spirit Ascension Realm. Oh my god. And it seems that they are chasing Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao. At the same time, some other immortal Gu family children who were separated from Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao saw Gu Changge standing in the void. Seeing Gu Changge, they all expressed surprise. "It's Changge Divine Child. Great. It's Changge Divine Child. We are saved." Immediately afterwards, the disciples of the Changsheng Gu family came over. Seeing this, Gu Changge asked them, "Are you from the teams of Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao?" "Yes, Long Song Divine Child." A member of the Gu family on the 9th floor of Hongqiao stood up and said, "Where are Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao and the others?" In order not to implicate us, Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao lured away the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension Realm themselves. The Gu family disciples who stood up said quickly, "Okay, you guys stay in my team for now. I'll leave first." After Gu Changge finished speaking, he looked at Gu Qingqiu, Gu Jing and others. "Wait for me here, and send some people to call Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao's team here together. It's Divine Child." Gu Jing and others nodded. Gu Qingqiu, who was standing in the crowd, looked at the figure of Gu Changge standing in the sky. His beautiful eyes lowered slightly, and he was shocked in his heart. Has this guy really changed? He actually had to use his 2nd level cultivation in the Life Will Realm to prepare to attack the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension Realm, putting himself in such great danger. Gu Changge didn't know Gu Qingqiu's inner thoughts. Now he is just doing what he wants. As the divine child of an immortal family, it is natural to take on the role of divine child. Certainly, the premise is that it is not life-threatening. After all, no matter how much you want to be responsible, you have to save your life. Spirit Ascension Realm may not threaten your life. Not to mention that during the coming-of-age ceremony trials, there are immortal guardians and elders outside to look after you. If you are in danger, you can just quit. There will be no danger to your life. However, what Gu Changge did made Gu Jing and other Gu family members present respect him very much and become enthusiastic about him. I'm really becoming more and more satisfied with Changge. In the Void's secret realm square, a clan elder sat upright in the void, looked at Gu Changge in the mirror, and sighed in admiration. He is unparalleled in talent, looks, and temperament, not to mention being so responsible and considerate of his fellow tribesmen. It is simply perfect. Another clan elder spoke. Gu Qingjue looked at Gu Changge's figure in the mirror. Looking at Changge's appearance, it seems that he is going to take action against the ferocious beast of the Spirit Ascension Realm that is chasing Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao. He seems to be confident and interested. When the elders from other tribes heard this, they suddenly realized. While focusing on Gu Changge's outstanding performance, he forgot about who Gu Changge was going to attack next. This realization immediately made them look at each other in shock. Life Will Realm versus Spirit Ascension Realm. This is a big realm crossed. The four realms were fine in the early stage, and crossing the big realm was not a problem, but starting from the Wheel of Life realm, the first layer realm, the first layer heaven, the Fate Wheel realm condenses the life wheel, grinds the spiritual energy, and turns it into spiritual liquid. A drop of spiritual liquid is more terrifying than the total spiritual power of a 9-level Hongqiao realm expert, so the life wheel completely crushes Hongqiao. The same is true for Spirit Ascension Realm and Life Wheel Realm. The Spirit Ascension Realm has given birth to the natal divine ability, and the divine ability is divided into small divine ability and large divine ability. The big divine ability was born out of the 3,000 Great Tao, and the small divine ability is all kinds of small divine abilities of the 5 elements. Divine ability already involves the power of heaven and earth, and it is a crushing blow to the Wheel of Life realm. Now Gu Changge is going to take action against the Spirit Ascension Realm, and he is still entering the Life Wheel realm for the first time. If he is on the 6th or 7th level of the Life Wheel realm, it is still possible, but on the 1st or 2nd level, it is as difficult as climbing to the sky. The clan elder who just praised Gu Changge frowned and said, "It's a good thing that Changge has the courage to challenge, but he is afraid of losing and being defeated, which will affect his body and mind." As the elder of the Yunkai tribe said, "With us here, there is no need to worry about Changge's life. We are just afraid of encountering a blow so early and affecting the Taoist heart." Another clan elder spoke. Gu Qing also frowned slightly. It doesn't matter. How could Changge Daoxin be so easily affected? He dared to attack the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension Realm in the early stage of the Life Wheel Realm, which has surpassed everyone in the adult ceremony trial. The 6 elders of the Deacon clan are not optimistic about Gu Changge, and they feel that Gu Changge will lose when facing the ferocious beast of the Spirit Ascension Realm. Even Gu Qing didn't feel that Gu Changge could win, but I guess it will be slapped in the face soon. Gu Changge is naturally confident if he dares to take action against the Spirit Ascension Realm. And confidence. It's the dual pupils he's carrying and the immortal bones. Even though he is only at the 2nd level of the Life Wheel Realm, he still has the power to fight against the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension Realm. With a thought, Gu Changge turned into a stream of light and flew away from the Spirit Ascension Realm ferocious beast, chasing Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao. At this time, Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao were in danger. The terrifying aura of the ferocious beasts in the Spirit Ascension Realm behind them almost suffocated them. Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao took out their point tokens, looked at each other, and sighed together. "It seems like this is the end of it this time," Gu Ziyu said. "It just hurts the team we lead." Gu Xiaoxiao also nodded. Roared, a terrifying roar came from behind with a fishy breath. Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao turned around and looked at the approaching Spirit Ascension Realm ferocious beast, with calm expressions on their faces, just as they were about to crush the points token so that the old guard could take action. A terrifying stream of light flew past them in an instant, slamming into the ferocious beast of the Spirit Ascension Realm that was about to open its mouth to them, accompanied by a terrifying roar erupting from the void. The air waves spread visible to the naked eye. Under the shocked gazes of Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao, the Spirit Ascension Realm ferocious beast was instantly knocked away and moved hundreds of meters away. The sudden scene made Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao's eyes widen. What's going on?" Gu Ziyu exclaimed. Gu Xiaoxiao was also shocked. In the coming-of-age ceremony trial, who among the younger generation of our immortal Gu family can fight against the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension realm? This is not the Wheel of Life realm? Anyone with this ability can be... Suddenly, a figure that looked like an immortal appeared in Gu Xiaoxiao's mind. Gu Ziyu also understood instantly. Gu Changge. At the same time, Gu Changge collided with the ferocious beast of the Spirit Ascension realm, and the deafening roar spread for hundreds of miles. The people leading the team nearby looked at the direction of the roar. Then their expressions changed slightly, and they headed towards the direction of the sound without hesitation. Started to come at a gallop. Gu Yuan, Gu Shuangjian's second and third ranks are also on their way. The stream of light manifests and the spiritual light dissipates. As Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao watched in surprise, they gradually saw who had rescued them just now. Exactly like a guess. A figure dressed in black with gold trim and an extremely noble appearance came into their eyes. The young man has a fairy-like and noble temperament. His facial features are slightly immature but extremely handsome. His whole body is filled with extremely confident and invincible aura. Even if he faces spirit, the ferocious beasts of Ascension Realm also remained calm. It's really Gu Changge. Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao were shocked when they saw Gu Changge's figure at this time. Chapter 25. Although I guess who saved them. But when they actually saw this figure, Gu Ziyu and Gu Xiaoxiao couldn't help but feel shocked in their hearts. This scene is really shocking. After all, Gu Changge had just entered the Life Wheel realm, but now he was fighting against the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension realm for them. For a time, an inexplicable feeling filled the hearts of the two women. After all, they had always had a good impression of Gu Changge, who suppressed the younger generation of the Changsheng Gu family, and now they saw Gu Changge standing in front of them like a savior. That feeling. How could there be no waves in their hearts? Roar, this Spirit Ascension realm ferocious beast was interrupted by Gu Changge and roared angrily. Originally, she was almost able to eat these two ants who stole her chance to protect her, but Gu Changge actually stepped in. Standing in front of Gu Changge was a ferocious beast that had entered the Spirit Ascension realm for the first time. The Infernal Flame Spider. The Purgatory Flame Spider's whole body is covered with bright red lines that look like blood. Its body is huge, several feet tall, and its whole body is filled with billowing black air. The Spirit Ascension realm's momentum is so strong that the void airflow seems to have solidified. The attack method can spit out a flame containing terrifying poison. In addition to breaking through the Spirit Ascension realm, it is very likely to awaken a small fire-based divine ability. The Purgatory Flame Spider is very common among ferocious beasts. It can awaken divine ability after entering the Spirit Ascension realm. It is also a nightmare under the Spirit Ascension realm. Gu Changge looked at the Purgatory Flame Spider quietly. Of course he knew the origin of the Purgatory Flame Spider in front of him. Come on, let me see what Spirit Ascension realm is capable of. Gu Changge said calmly with his hands behind his back. Roar! The Purgatory Flame Spider roared, and its huge body moved and turned into a stream of fiery red light. In an instant, he rushed in front of Gu Changge. The terrifying and sharp spider legs were like a long knife, streaking through the void with silver light and severely slashing Gu Changge. Gu Changge looked calm and punched out. The energy and blood in the body roared. The spiritual power wrapped around the fist, and with one punch, a huge force of 1,500 kilograms exploded. Boom, fists and spider legs clash. A terrifying air wave was accompanied by the sound of thunder, and instantly spread with the impact of fists and spider legs. When the two sides collided, Gu Changge's body was shaken and flew backwards for tens of meters in an instant. The Purgatory Flame Spider's body trembled slightly and retreated slightly for nearly 10 meters. Ho ho ho! The Purgatory Flame Spider sensed that it was being repelled, and was immediately furious. It was a majestic Spirit Ascension realm ferocious beast, but was actually repelled by an ant that was weaker than itself. Gu Changge looked at the Purgatory Flame Spider with great interest. It is indeed an ordinary ferocious beast. Even if it steps into the Spirit Ascension realm, it is not impossible to deal with it. When Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao, Gu Jing and others below saw this scene, their pupils shrank slightly. Gu Changge can actually compete with the ferocious beasts of the Spirit Ascension realm in physical strength? Oh my god, what did they see? What kind of terrifying physical strength is this? You must know that apart from being born with various physical qualities, few Taoist monks can physically compete with ferocious beasts. Now I see that Gu Changge can actually use his physical body to defeat the vicious beast of the Spirit Ascension realm, the Purgatory Flame Spider, even though he is in the Life Wheel realm? Hiss, did they read that correctly? And shouldn't Guchanga's talent be dual pupils? Everyone was shocked. However, the Purgatory Flame Spider became furious because of Guchanga's words and continued to attack Guchanga. Huh. Sizzling. Terrifying flames spurted out from the mouth of the Purgatory Flame Spider, and the heat distorted the void. Even after the flame was sprayed out, a sizzling sound emerged from the void. The flames contained hot fire poison. Even Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao and others who were far away from the battlefield below were made dizzy by the heat wave that hit their faces. The flames of the infernal flame spider contained fire poison. Gu Qingqiu suddenly shouted to Guchanga, "Be careful of its flames." However, Guchanga seemed to have been prepared. When the Purgatory Flame Spider spewed out flames, 2 rounds of pupils appeared in Guchanga's clear pupils, as if countless mysteries were evolving in his eyes. Dual pupils, future vision. The body moves. Guchanga easily dodged the poisonous flames of the Purgatory Flame Spider. Dodging the attack of the Purgatory Flame Spider, Guchanga glanced at Gu Qingqiu below and nodded towards her. When Gu Qingqiu saw Guchanga nodding towards him, he couldn't help but lower his head slightly, feeling a little uneasy. Why would I remind him that this guy has dual pupils? Dual pupils contain several divine abilities, and future vision is one of them. There's no way he's in danger. Gu Qingqiu, he took your supreme bone in his last life. It will cause you to suffer losses in the early stage and compete in the midterm. You are the enemy. The reminder just now can be regarded as repaying him for the benefits he has given me recently. Gu Qingqiu comforted himself in his heart. However, Guchanga was in no mood to speculate on what Gu Qingqiu was thinking. He dodged the attack of the Purgatory Flame Spider, and the Purgatory Flame Spider looked up to the sky again and roared. The next moment, a force of heaven and earth suddenly enveloped 1,000 feet in radius. Tumultuous. A field of blazing flames instantly covered 1,000 feet in radius. This power made Guchanga frown slightly and look at the surrounding flame realm. This is the Spirit Ascension Realm divine ability awakened by this Purgatory Flame Spider. It seems to be the Flame Realm. I don't know what the specific ability is. Roar. Using divine ability to cover Guchanga, the infernal flame spider seemed to have won the disaster, roaring with excitement as it praised victory. Accompanied by its roar, terrifying fireballs carrying thick fire poison condensed in the void. Blink. Guchanga's body was condensed with dozens of fireballs carrying terrifying fire poison. Be careful. Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao and others exclaimed. Any fireball above had a power that made them feel suffocated, and it was obviously extraordinary. Roar, the Purgatory Flame Spider launched an attack command, and fireballs carrying terrifying fire poison immediately attacked Guchanga. Boom, 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 fireballs hit Guchanga's position one after another, causing a shocking explosion. Seeing this scene, Gu Ziyu, Gu Xiaoxiao, and the others turned pale. Dozens of such terrifying fireballs are all concentrated in one place. So even a Spirit Ascension Realm monk in the same realm must be extremely cautious. Guchanga. Even Gu Qingqiu felt nervous and worried about him at this moment. The flames were billowing and the fire poison was overwhelming. When the Purgatory Flame Spider saw all its attacks hitting Guchanga, it neighed with excitement, feeling that Guchanga was dead. This move is absolutely unfavorable. Because before, as long as I used this move to hit the prey would definitely die. However, under everyone's gaze, when the smoke from the explosion dissipated, the eyes of the people present suddenly widened, with expressions of disbelief on their faces. After the flames dissipated, the picture of Guchanga that everyone imagined was seriously injured or embarrassed did not appear. Instead, he still stood there as elegant and innocent as before, and even more like a god than before. It's really scary.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.